Oh, only 1 minute late. Come on. Good morning, afternoon, possibly evening, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to FPL Mate. We are here for a Gameweek 30 deadline stream. I just realised I did not mean to put this football shirt on. I literally put a football shirt on in the last 30 seconds, thinking that I'd put my Lyon shirt on. They were right next to each other. Apparently, I put on the wrong shirt. I didn't even realise until I've seen myself in the camera. So, I think, do we just stick with the Ted Lasso? I wanted to wear the Lyon, man. It's one of my favourite designs on a football shirt. I feel like we should switch this up. This is like a true top quality shirt. I'm changing. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. But anyway, hello. Welcome to the stream. I hope everyone is okay. Sorry, I'm off camera right now, but I'm sure nobody wants to see my my torso. But I hope we're all good. Benching headaches this week. I'm sure we're going to need a bench list, aren't we? Some people concerned about various players when it comes to injury, rotation. It could be an interesting week for rotation, actually. I think there could be some pain coming in Game Week 30. We'll have to wait and see. But let's check out the chat, see what you guys are up to. Let's see here. E-Man is planning to buy Thiago. Should he start him over Rodgers? I think so. If you are going to buy Thiago, I would start him over Rodgers this week. Here for FPL is here. Stephen is here as well. JH87 says Munoz to Van Dijk. Certainly would tempt me. But, I mean, the press conference update on Munoz seemed reasonably positive. I think the exact quote was something along the lines of Glasner hopeful that Munoz is going to be available. So it's the hope that kills us, of course. But yeah. Maybe Munoz is going to be fine. Never says, morning Dan, FPL has given me a bloody headache this week. That is unfortunate. I feel like I would, I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty at peace with my FPL team this week, which is nice. Ayan says, see you're in bright spirits, Dan. I feel in pretty bright spirits, actually. It's a slightly later deadline than usual. I've been up, usually, historically, I'm not a morning person, but I've been up since like 7:30, catching up on FPL content, FPL podcast, doing some research, looking at injury stuff and stuff like that, and playing Pokemon Legends ZA, which I got like over Christmas, but only picked up in the last week. By the way, I don't know if anyone has picked up Pokemon Legends ZA, but fantastic. Yeah, really rich. Probably my favorite Pokemon game in like, I don't know, since I was a kid, probably. Since like Pokemon Silver, I would probably say this is like my favorite Pokemon game. But I digress. I do digress a little bit because this is a FPL show, I suppose. But yeah, good spirits today, man. Good spirits today. Bruno or Ekatike as captain. I think your safe bet is Bruno. I mean, we may as well kick things off with a little bit of captaincy chat, to be fair. Should we put the poll in the chat immediately? I mean, I don't really see the problem. Fantasy Pokemon League? Hey man, if there was ever such a thing as Fantasy Pokemon League, I'd be playing. But let's put a poll in the chat. Inferno says been playing Leaf Green again. Banger. Yeah, fair play. Yeah, to be fair, actually, that maybe Leaf Green or possibly Fire Red was the last game that I truly loved from the Pokemon series. But those games were a long time ago. Maybe Sapphire and Emerald and those ones. Right, who is your Game Week 30 captain? And I think there are 3 big options and then several smaller options. So I'm going to put Haaland, Bruno, Ekatike, and then I guess other. And other could be Salah, Semenyo. Who else? What else who else are people captaining? Probably Joao Pedro after last game week, to be honest. Cole Palmer, potentially. But anyway, I'm going to throw that poll in the chat for you guys. Get voting. Let's talk about it. Let's have some discussion. No, Emerald love. Yeah, no, I did enjoy Emerald. I did enjoy Emerald. But the last time I was properly like nerding out on Pokemon games would have been Gold and Silver. I did play Emerald though. Tiago, yeah, Tiago didn't even mention Tiago. Tiago against Wolves. It's an interesting one. I often feel that Wolves as a fixture is I don't know, maybe a little risky because people look at the Premier League table and see Wolves right at the bottom must be an easy fixture, but kind of ignores the fact that Wolves have been getting some good wins recently. And they beat, what did they do? They drew with Arsenal, they beat Liverpool, they beat Aston Villa. And granted, these were home games for them, but I don't know, man. Like they've been doing okay. Yeah, I knew there'd be a few people in the chat captaining Joao Pedro. Yes, it was bound to happen. But looking at the poll, we do see Bruno Fernandes has taken an early lead on this captain poll, but like under 50%. So that does suggest that we are pretty wide open when it comes to captaincy this week, which is interesting stuff. Shall I throw my team on screen? We may as well. Just bear with me 1 second, guys, and we'll I'm gonna put my team on screen. Just need to log into the FPL website, app, whatever you want to call it. Probably website since we're on browser today. Okay, so let's see here. This is what my team is looking like right now. Show team gang emojis coming in clutch in the chat, I see. Reese says Wolves' form has been good, but I still trust Thiago over Ekitike and Haaland at the moment. And I think, you know, there is maybe some argument to trust Thiago more from a minutes perspective. But like, I don't know, if you're talking about form of players, Ekitike and Haaland, I would definitely argue have been in better form than Thiago recently. I mean, what's Thiago done recently? I mean, I say that. He did score, what was it, twice in the FA Cup, didn't he, the last weekend? So that is something, don't get me wrong. But yeah, in the Premier League, it's been like one penalty goal, nothing else in what feels like months. Very red team this week, Dan. Yes, Renatus. It is a pretty red team, with Haaland being the exception. Maybe we should sell Haaland or bench him for Anderson to get the full Reds, the mighty Reds. I think a lot of people's FPL teams are looking quite red at the moment, though. You know, unless you've got a lot of Chelsea and Man City, and if you have got a lot of Chelsea and Man City, you're probably doing quite well. But if you've had let me put it this way: if you had a red arrow in Game Week 29, you probably had a pretty red-looking team. Oh dear! I know it's impossible, but would you try and predict Liverpool 11? I could try, but I could not succeed, I don't think. There is going to be some rotation. Liverpool are going to have to really make a push for that second leg in the Champions League against Galatasaray. So I am expecting some changes there. I think we all are. It's interesting. I still think Ekitike probably starts, but I wouldn't be convinced by that. It's difficult, man. It's difficult. Virgil will play. Kanate should play. Soboslai should play. Colin with the super chat says Thiago and Tavernier for Rodgers and Guiu for free. I have 2 free transfers. Yeah, I kind of like that, to be honest. Yeah, because yes, you are selling Rodgers, who, you know, could be useful in game week 31 against West Ham, but you're making a big upgrade on Guiu, and actually Tavernier versus Rodgers this week looks really nice. So I would say, as long as, you know, it's not causing you a benching headache, then yeah, I would absolutely do those transfers. The problem is a lot of people are kind of making double transfers. A lot of people who are upgrading the likes of Guiu or Obi or Krupi Jr. or, you know, whatever cheap forward they have on their bench. What they're doing is inadvertently creating a benching headache, much like the benching headache that I have in my team. Now, I did this move a couple of weeks ago, and since then, it's been benching headache after benching headache. It's been points benched after points benched. So it does cause as much pain as it does cause freedom. But of course, when we come to next week, you're going to need your bench, because you're going to need to bench Arsenal, Man City, Crystal Palace and Wolves if you have them. So it's definitely something that benefits your team. But have a look at the benching headache that you might have. Is Wirtz a viable captain? I think Wirtz is a player who maybe falls into the category of rotation risk for this game week, which is kind of understandable. He's recently come back from injury, started in the Champions League, although we did get a reasonably early sub there. So, yeah, could it be another early sub for Wirtz, or is he simply going to be on the bench? The problem is if this Spurs fixture is as easy as we're saying it is, and we think it's going to be quite easy considering Spurs are now, well, they're obviously Van de Ven is suspended. They're going to be missing now Romero, Palinha, Gallagher. I think Udogie's still out, right? There's just so many missing players from Spurs. Maybe Liverpool say, okay, actually, this is the game. We maybe want to rest players. But we'll see. Craig Supin says, Captain Haaland or Bruno, play Wilson or Elliot Anderson. So I prefer Bruno captain. I do think Haaland will play against West Ham. I don't think it doesn't really feel like a Marmoush kind of game, to be honest. It's really, really difficult to predict Haaland's minutes, though, given that surely the priority is against Real Madrid. But then again, maybe it's not, because he played very poorly against Real Madrid in the first leg of the Champions League. So I think Haaland starts. I really do think Haaland starts against West Ham, but could we potentially see an early sub there? Maybe. Do we actually trust Haaland at the moment? Again, maybe. We look at this West Ham fixture, particularly with it being away. We see West Ham having improved. Do we trust that's a fixture? Again, I think maybe if you asked me at the start of the season, Dan, predict game week 30, who's going to be a captain? Is it going to be Haaland against West Ham, or is it going to be Bruno against Aston Villa? Well, I tell you, it's Haaland all day long. But I think the fact that Bruno is secure for minutes, he's in very good form, clearly, and it's more than just FPL points. He's playing really, really well, and actually, he's kind of been robbed for points recently. He should have got more because his teammates have not been finishing the chances he's been created. Super close to DEFCON last week. He's kind of been robbed in a way. So, looking really good. Aston Villa are actually in pretty poor form at the moment, kind of losing games, conceding multiple goals in games. A pretty open and aggressive team as well, compared to West Ham, or more of a sit-back kind of team. I personally feel more comfortable with the captain's armband on Bruno Fernandes. That's how I feel right now. I think I am going to vice captain Haaland because I do like to have a player I have more security in their minutes, or more confidence in minutes. So we'll maybe put Haaland as the vice captain, but I don't know, it's between Ekitike and Haaland. But yeah, Bruno. He's my pick because he just makes me feel comfortable. I'm more comfortable going with him. I know he's in good form. I know the fixture is good. It's against a team out of form. I know he's got all of those set pieces. I know that he's going to play 90 plus minutes. He ticks a lot of the boxes that I'm looking for. But if you want to take more of a risk, then absolutely Haaland is there. I say take a risk. You're taking a risk on his points potential, but you're actually probably going to end up going with the crowd, because I know in this stream the poll is obviously putting Bruno Fernandes ahead in the voting. I think in the overall player base, we're more going to see people just go for Haaland. That Haaland defaultism is something that we see very, very frequently in, the active player base and indeed the inactive FPL player base as well. So, whatever your rank is right now, when we go and check the effective ownership of all of the captains, who is actually captaining which player, we're still going to see the majority of FPL managers around you guys will be captaining Haaland over Bruno. So Bruno is maybe an opportunity in many ways to try and steal a bit of a march on the crowd with a secure player. And then what you do is you basically hope that you hope that Haaland maybe gets rested, gets subs early, doesn't play very well again, West Ham defend well again, and, maybe it all comes up trumps for you. So I think Bruno is a good way to bet against the crowd by going for a safe, secure option who's in good form with a good fixture. It ticks all the boxes for me. So for me, I'm not really had too much doubt in my mind of who I'm going to captain this week. Bruno has been pretty secure for me. pretty much a week. And I just can't see myself going elsewhere. I really can't. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty comfy with that one. But I think a lot of people will be tempted to go Haaland, Ekitike, Thiago, Salah. If you have Salah as well, you're maybe thinking, yes, he's started a lot of games recently, but early sub in the Champions League, could he maybe play? I think one concern with Salah for me would be potentially Frimpong coming and playing in that right wing position, potentially. Don't know. Carl says, predict Salah's minutes. Oh, right on time. Predict Salah's minutes as only played 60 minutes in Champions League. Okay. If I had to make a prediction, I would say you've got a 75% chance of Salah starting, which is, nowhere near 100%, is it really? And this is not a secure captain. But if he does start, you got to think, right wingers against Spurs typically do quite well. I think it could be quite interesting. I think it really, really could be quite interesting. And therefore, is it worth taking a risk? If I've had Salah, I think I would go for him ahead of Haaland and Ekitike. Because, yes, we can say, okay, Salah, maybe not perfect for minutes right now. Who is, other than like players like Bruno? There's not many players who are, really secure and settled for minutes this week. This game week in particular. However, you got some set piece taker, you got penalty taker. You're probably looking at getting 70 minutes against a Spurs team that are clearly doing very poorly right now. Yes, it's a little riskier than Bruno, but I think the rewards are definitely there. Definitely there to be taken. So I like Salah as a captain pick. And if I had him, he'd be ahead of the pecking order than Haaland and Ekitike for me, I think. But the safe option is Bruno. So, we try and talk a lot about who is the, quote unquote best captain option. And as an FPL content creator, I'm here to say this is the best answer. This is 100% going to go well. There's no chance this goes wrong, but unfortunately, football just doesn't work like that. And I think really we're looking at multiple options of varying degrees of risk. Bruno is your safe option. Probably, unless there's a penalty in there, his ceiling is probably lower than someone like Salah, someone like Haaland. But he gives you that security of minutes, which Salah and Haaland do not give you. So what kind of manager are you? It's time to look. It's time to take a peek into the mirror. Who are you? Who are you? Are you one who takes the risk, who chases the big potential haul? Or do you just want to sleep very peacefully in bed? Do you want to just relax for the next few hours with that captain's armband on Bruno, sit back, relax, chill, and hope for the best, knowing that it can't really go that wrong? Can it? Probably not. This is a chill week for me, I think. And I think a lot of that is to do with the fact that I don't think that many people will captain Bruno. I think they'll click on here. They'll go, Aston Villa. I know Aston Villa are, very high in the table. And it says grey here, so I'm not going to do that. And then people might look at West Ham and say, ooh, this looks like a green fixture. Honestly, is West Ham away really a better fixture than Aston Villa at home? Depends what kind of player you are, really. I don't know. Beats by and Jai says Haaland and Rodgers to Pedro and Bruno / Verts or Salah. Oh, man. You could do. Bruno, Verts or Salah is a good question, though. Bruno is the sensible option. Salah, I would go for ahead of Verts. If I had the money to go for Salah, I'd pick him ahead of Verts. So yeah, you could do Haaland and Rodgers. If you have 2 free transfers, I wouldn't do that for a hit. I'll put it that way. But if you have the money, you really want Joao Pedro. You're missing a key player like Bruno or a captaincy option like Salah. Yeah, you pick up Bruno or Salah, you've got yourself a captain option. So I think that definitely, lends credit to making that double transfer move. But for a hit, I don't know, man. I'm not 100% convinced. Is Harry Wilson fit? Looking positive, Harry Wilson. Looking fairly positive there. He's making a very strong push to be in the squad, which is good news. VJ with a super chat says, Timber, Rice, Richard, Sarr, Haaland, and injured Mukiele. Help for Gameweek 31. Also 11, please. Virgil, Anderson, Dango, Bruno, Wilson, XTK, Thiago. Oh, I see. I think Mukiele could be back next week, so I don't think you need to worry about that too much. You are going to be in some trouble next week, but it looks to me that you can probably just roll your transfer this week. You're not really missing anyone. Next week, you'll have 2 free transfers. You can do, Rice to... who would you go for? Maybe, I don't know. You need defenders, really? Do you need defenders? So Mukiele will be back. Looks like you need one more defender. So could you do something like Timber and Rice to Wirtz and... I don't know what defender I'd even be looking at next week, to be honest. You got Virgil. Bournemouth guys are against Manchester United. Maybe Malik Chow at Newcastle, if you're looking for 1 week. Something like that. So yeah, roll this week, double transfer next week. Resolve. Free up some money with one transfer. Maybe do Rice to Wirtz with the other transfer. Something like that would work. Is Wilson likely to start? And that is another question. It's really difficult to say. I wish I had like a very clear answer on that one. His injury status, the manager seems positive on him, and that he's got a good chance. But I don't know what that means. Is that, what's that, 60%, 70%? He's more likely to start than not, probably. But of course, you are risking him being benched and getting a 1-pointer off the bench. You are taking that risk. But if he is injured, there's also an argument to say, is he just going to stay benched? Or something like that. Maybe. Right. James says, hey, Dan, if Wilson doesn't start, do I bring Dango in for Rodgers? Nah. I wouldn't. If you have a perfectly fine playing player on your bench, I don't think you need to transfer them out for the sake of getting additional bench cover. No, I don't think that's worthwhile. Hey, Dan, Szoboszlai, Wilson, Rice, Senesi, Anderson. Pick 3 to start. I would start Szoboszlai, Rice, and Senesi. I'd probably bench Wilson and who else was it? Anderson at Fulham, presumably. Oh, I have a question before the viewership drops off a little bit, because I did actually start this stream a little bit early with the intention of asking this a little bit earlier. But I have a question for you guys, and this is a bit of feedback on my part, if that's okay. So obviously, when the other streams start, like there are other FPL streamers, like we can't deny that. I often see, if I start the stream early, as soon as the other streams start, I often see about 100 people drop off and will go kind of on the dot 2 hours before deadline when other streams start. When it's 2 hours till deadline, I always see like maybe 100 people will drop out of viewing this stream. I wanted to ask you guys, is there anything I can do to make you stay? Is there something you feel I'm missing? Am I missing something? Is there anything I can provide for you guys that would encourage you? Or is it just a case of preference of content creator? I was just filling the gap before going over to your favorite, which, by the way, is absolutely fine. Everyone's got their favorite content creators. I've got my favorite FPL content creators too. So I totally get playing favorites. I do it myself. But yeah, I was just wondering if there's anything I can do that would encourage you to stick around and, maybe, I don't know, do something that you guys would enjoy and appreciate more. Not missing anything, just variety, just different opinions, preference. Oh, fair enough. Just leave to watch my favourite. Fair enough. At least you're honest, Josh. At least you're honest. Carl says sometimes I do the reverse. Watch Harry until you come on. So just preference. Okay. Fair enough. I feel the bench list is a little overdone. What, as in we spend too much time on this chat or in these streams doing them, or you see them elsewhere too much? Sometimes a different opinion helps my opinion. You know what? That is super valuable. I totally get that. I totally get that. That makes a lot of sense. People liked it. You guys have been really reassuring and kind in the chat. I really do appreciate you guys a lot for that, by the way. But please, I cannot stress enough. No offense taken to anything. I just want to make sure that we're doing a good job here. And that's not from a place of insecurity or anything like that. It's from a place of genuinely wanting to deliver kind of top-notch FPL content. Ricky said, I've got to go. My favourite has just started. Totally understand. Totally understand. Some people say they're multi-streaming as well. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, there you go. Cat cam would make people stay. Yeah, could be onto something there. Maybe I need to start using the cat for views. That would be good. User says I always like the fun stuff, like calling managers on your phone the toin cost. I mean, look, we can certainly keep that up. But anyway, thank you. Look, it's a very competitive space right now. There is a lot of fantastic FPL content creators doing a really, really good job right now. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something. There you go. But I appreciate guys. And don't need to dwell on this one. More than happy to jump straight back into the FPL conversation. But cheers, guys. You're awesome. Drop a like. Hey, that always helps. Okay. So, Ferber says, Stan, Wilson or Anderson, who starts? That's an interesting one. And I think when we do the bench list, and we'll kick that off in about 45 minutes time, I'm pretty sure I am going to put Anderson ahead of Wilson in the bench list. Because I think if I had both Wilson and Anderson, and this is Elliot Anderson, just to clarify, I would prefer to play Elliot Anderson. But again, is that just a security thing? Possibly. What to see? Start Hill or Munoz? That's a tough one, to be fair. But actually, I'm leaning towards Hill over Munoz, over those two as well. Because DEFCON, and I do think Hill, particularly against Burnley, and we've seen Burnley concede some goals to set pieces, to centre-backs. James Hill is the target man at Bournemouth right now. So, typically you say, okay, Munoz, more attacking threat. I don't think it's that dissimilar between him and Hill. Plus, Hill has DEFCON. Hill has better clean sheet odds as well. So, yeah, Hill for me. Super chat here from Video Grafas Huosas, who says, Munoz or Alex Jimenez, Krupi also in conversation. When it comes to Alex Jimenez, I would maybe go with Munoz. I prefer Munoz, I think. I think I prefer both to Krupi. Again, that's just a minutes thing. That's just a minutes thing for me. Hazard says, I need to gain 100 points to win my league. What could I do differently? It depends. It depends on what your mini league rivals are doing. Are they risky managers? Because sometimes it might, a lot of the time, you see a lot of the riskier managers. Some will be way at the bottom of the table. Some will be way at the top of the table. But if you're playing risky consistently, when you are at the top and you are continuing to play in a risky way, then there is every chance you drop off again. So sometimes just playing securely, if you are going up against risky managers at the top of your mini league, sometimes playing securely is underrated. But also, like, if your mini league rivals aren't as in tune with chip strategy and planning ahead, like for example, let's find. This is gonna rate my team. Let's go to my drive. Let's find. I'm on the wrong account. I want to find my, what is it? Calendar. Blanks doubles calendar. Oh, I already have it open in another tab already. I already pre-prepared it. I've just forgot I had. So, are your mini league rivals seeing this? That's a big question. Let's just try and fit this in nicely on the screen. We're probably pretty much failing to do. Yeah. Are your mini leagues seeing things like this? Are they prepared? Do they know what's coming? Is your mini league leader ready for game week 31 and the blanks that are going to be there? Have they already used their chips? Will they be using their free hit chip in game week 31 and leave themselves wide open for you to catch up in game week, 33, 34 potentially? So it's really difficult to say, how do you catch up? If you are super serious about winning your mini league, analyze your rivals. What are they up to? What chips have they used? There's lots of great tools as well that can help you find out a lot of this information. You just got to look for them. But to answer your question, kind of depends. I would probably be looking at chip strategy and maybe trying a slightly different chip strategy if you are looking to make some ground. It's more difficult to say on mini league rivals. I can very easily advise on how to try and take a risk to do well in the overall player base, but against mini league rivals, it's a little bit more nuanced because it's personal. But anyway, Ahmed with a super chat here says, my team: Pickford, Gabriel, Nunes, Hill, Canate, Bruno, Semenyo, Dango, Wilson, Enzo, Ekatike, Haaland, Thiago. Do I need any changes, and what would you recommend? Pickford is not ideal, but it's fine. Not worth a transfer. Gabriel, Nunes, Hill, Canate, great defense. Bruno, Semenyo, Dango, Wilson, Enzo. I mean, you just got to bench one of these guys, really, and you're probably going to bench Enzo, right? And then if Enzo comes and auto subs in for Wilson, then fine. I don't think this team needs any changes, Ahmed. Not this week, at least. I would just stick with what you've got. Roll the transfer. And yeah, next week we're going to be making multiple transfers, I think. And Fahad says, hey, Dan, hope all is well. Play one, Rice, Mbermo, Senesi, or O'Reilly. Who would I play? One. I can only play one. The lowest risk option is Rice. I think he has a base, starts on 5 points this week. I think he'll get DEFCON. I think he'll get a clean sheet. So 5 points right there. And then you're looking at for bonus and attacking returns. So Rice is the safest option. And Burmo probably has a higher ceiling than Rice. Senesi is interesting. O'Reilly is interesting. How are you in a situation where you're benching these players, though? Like, for example, Fahad. Fix the sound? I don't think there's anything wrong with the sound, Apple, bro. Is this just the classic troll? Yeah, like, I'm sure you're going to have players in your starting 11 right now that are worse than Rice and Burmo, Senesi, O'Reilly, surely. Like, if you've got an Anderson at Fulham or, I don't know, a Munoz, I think I'd rather play a Senesi or an O'Reilly to those guys. If you have a Joao Pedro up front, I honestly think I'd rather play Rice and Burmo than Joao Pedro this week. Actually, is that honest? I don't know. Maybe that. Okay, maybe that's maybe a little too far. That's probably too far. But if you've got Enzo or Wilson or these kind of guys, again, probably rather play Rice, rather play Burman. So I don't know, man. Bully High says, love the Leon shirt, mate. Oh, it's a beauty, isn't it? It's an absolute beauty. Thoughts on Gu and Haaland to Pedro and Thiago for free? For free? It's that's tempting. I do like that, and it certainly helps you for next game week 2. Yeah, okay, I like that. Christopher says, here's an idea, Dan. Get some of your fellow FPL managers that like and subscribe on your channel. Well, on my... Yeah, to be fair, I thought about doing some kind of call-in show where you can call in and have a chat. I am well aware of the risks of that, though. I feel like that is a very dangerous game to be playing. So, yeah, I think that's the problem. And I've done like collabs and stuff before. It is a little bit more tricky than you'd think, because there is a lot of technological problems. And I have tried having people on the channel who maybe aren't as technologically minded, or maybe or maybe the camera is poor quality, or the audio is poor quality, and the file has been recorded incorrectly. And I've actually lost a lot of time through trying to make videos with people who aren't really maybe as used to making videos as me. So it's tough, because ultimately I want to make sure I'm delivering. I love to chat to you guys, but ultimately I need to ensure I'm providing a good product that is of high quality. And it's very, very hard to strike that balance and find ways of working it. But there's got to be ways. I just haven't figured it out yet, to be honest. Matthew says Enzo and Tavernier to Gu and Pedro. Oh, so no, sorry. Enzo to Tavernier and Gu to Pedro. Have Haaland and Ekatike. Matthew, for free, I like that, mate. I like that a lot. For free, I like that. For a hit, I'm not as keen. Steven says 3-point hit on Mane and Haaland for Joao Pedro. 4-point hit. Mane and Haaland, Joao Pedro, and Ekatike. You could do. You could do. If you know next week you're gonna have to take a hit anyway, because you're in trouble when it comes to the blanks and non-playing players like Mane. Well, actually, Mane is a blanker rather than a non-playing player, but you kind of get my point. If you know you're going to be in trouble, you're going to have to take a hit next week regardless, then yeah, maybe do it this week if you feel it really improves your team. But if you're taking a hit to cause yourself a benching headache for this week, then I wouldn't do it. Captain Verts or Ekatike? I prefer Ekatike. Mini Bart says worth taking a -4 to go from Haaland, Thiago, and who's Mane. To Ekatike, Thiago, and Pedro. Please, don't want to take too long to drop Haaland and lose value. Lead in mini league by 9. I wouldn't worry too much about losing value on Haaland. There's probably not much more value to be lost there, to be fair. He's down to 14.3 at this point, 14.4. Crazy. But would I take that as a -4? I don't know. So you're just doing Haaland and Mane to Ekatike and Pedro. It's the same answer, I think, as the other person I just replied to, which is basically, if this just causes you a benching headache and it doesn't benefit your team for next game week, then I wouldn't do it. But if you're going to have to take a hit next week regardless, and you actually already have players you're kind of not comfortable with starting, and you kind of need to pad out your starting 11 a little bit this week too, then yeah, I'll take the hit. But I have a feeling there is some Joao Pedro, Ekatike FOMO going on right now for a few people here. But, honestly, is Haaland really worse than Joao Pedro? Probably not. I back Haaland. I would, if I had Haaland and Joao Pedro, and you said, Dan, who are you going to captain out of those two players? I wouldn't even think twice before captaining Haaland. I think if you're looking for the big score this week, Haaland is got that higher ceiling than Joao Pedro has. So, do you need Joao Pedro? Ekatike is maybe different. Not sure. My fixture graphic is wrong. Oh, what's wrong with it, Liam? What have I missed? Have I got the same? Oh, I've got the same team twice. I put Liverpool versus Fulham. It's meant to be Liverpool versus Tottenham. Well spotted. Well spotted. Hey, I'm not perfect. I do make the occasional little graphical mistake. But hopefully, the audio seems to be always fine. Yeah, I've been accused recently of engagement basing by always getting the tiniest little mini mistake on a graphic or something. to try and get people to point it out. But honestly, it's just human error. Human error. Maybe I should try and automate. I've started to try and automate more stuff though, so there's less human errors. But well spotted, Liam, and I appreciate that, my friend. Cheyenne says, "Is that Leon's third kit you're wearing? Looks sick." It is, and it's from last year or the year before. It could be the year before. But no, it's so sick, man. Steve says, "Hi Dan, my 4-year-old just asked, Daddy, why does the man always wear a football shirt?" And Steve's 4-year-old, that is a great question, and an inquisitive mind leads to a bright future. That's what I always say, starting from today. So why do I always wear a football shirt? I love football shirts. I collect football shirts, and hang on, I'll even show you. I'll even show you. Actually, is this worth moving my setup for? No, it's going to take me too long to put it back. But there's a bunch of football shirts there. Loads of them. And in addition to a rail of football shirts, I also have, like, because I just run out of space to put them, some of the shirts I wear a little bit less often are in a pile that is behind a super chat right now. But when the super chat goes, you'll see another massive pile of football shirts. I've got football shirts on the bottom right. I have a lot of football shirts. It's just kind of my thing. Hopefully that answers that question. The Sega is a masterpiece. Oh, for sure, man. Oh, yeah. It's my favorite football shirt possibly of all time. So, yeah, absolute masterpiece. He has the biggest smile on his face because you answered him. So thank you. Of course, man. Of course. There's no problem. I need to get him into FPL next. The next generation of FPL manager. Got a super chat here from Ipster. Says, already have Ekatike and Thiago. Going to sell Haaland to Pedro and get Gibbs White for a differential. I just really struggle with Gibbs White. Haaland to Joao Pedro, I don't think is an upgrade as an individual move. Gibbs White, I'm not seeing it. And I think the big reason is because Gibbs White is kind of a flavour of the week type player. Every season we talk about Gibbs White for a few weeks and then he disappears for another 9 months. Like, he scored a couple of really, really good goals recently that I actually don't think are super sustainable. But then again, it's Fulham this week, it's Spurs next week. So I understand why people are feeling a little optimistic on Forest players. It's tough, man. I think if money was an issue, I would say definitely don't buy Gibbs White. But I think a lot of people are finding they have a lot of money in the bank. They want to go something a little bit different. Maybe Gibbs White is the answer. And maybe that's the difference between now and, previously when we might have looked at Gibbs White. Previously, Gibbs White just looked like awful value for money. He still is. But we've got loads of awful value FPL picks right now. We all know Haaland is terrible value for money. I mean, and Burma probably isn't great value for money. Is Ekatike really a 9 million player? Maybe, but probably not. But we just have so much money to spend right now that it's like, who cares about the value for money you're getting from a player? We care about points, right? And if a poor value for money player is more likely to get points than a good value for money player, because remember, value does not necessarily equal points, then maybe it's just worth spending the money. Ryan says, I'd love a collection like that for my own. Never too late to start. A great way, if you are looking to collect football shirts, a great way is just to tell all your family and friends, like, if you're getting me for something for Christmas, whether that's a Secret Santa or, it's Christmas or my birthday, I just want football shirts. And then every year you just spawn with a few more football shirts every year. And by the time a few years have gone by, your football shirt collection has rapidly increased. Bud, is O'Reilly back this game week? He is back. He's available. I have some concerns about O'Reilly starting this week. Probably should say this, because we saw O'Reilly start in the weekend, in the midweek. He started last week, right? Am I made that up? He started in the midweek, certainly. Let's go on FOTMob. O'Reilly. Blimey, O'Reilly. Yeah. Okay. So he's been starting. He started the last 4 games. He started pretty much. Oh, wait. Unless there's some games missing here. I think maybe. So he started in the FA Cup. He started against Newcastle. Did he miss the midweek game week before that? Yeah, I think he did. But yeah, my concern is he played 90 against Real Madrid. Ait-Nouri played 0 minutes. And more specifically, Pep Guardiola literally said, we are going to change the squad. He literally said there are going to be changes from this game against West Ham. And of the players that you kind of think, okay, look at that Man City team that was playing against Real Madrid. Who are the players most likely to get rotated? Maybe not Haaland, maybe not Semenyo, maybe not the centre backs, maybe not the right back Nunez, maybe not Rodri. So where are the rotations going to come? Or certainly it could happen anyway. It could happen to all of those players I just mentioned. But where is it most likely to happen? And you think, okay, O'Reilly played at left back against Real Madrid, had a pretty poor game. We know that Ait-Nouri is rested. Is it just a case of bringing him back into the starting 11? And I think that's very possible. Hey Dan, have you got any frame shirts? I do have one. Actually, technically I have 2. I have 2. One is mine. It's an Arsenal shirt. And the other one is a signed Jurgen Klopp Liverpool shirt, which I picked up with the intention of doing some kind of charity auction or donating it to a charity to raffle off or auction off or something like that. But I don't really know. I want to do something for charity with it. I think maybe at some point I'll do I'll either do a charity stream or I'll find like a good charity within the FPL community that's being run, and maybe if they're doing like a charity raffle or something, I'll donate to that. So I don't know. So I have 2 frame shirts. One's I'll just show you. I may as well show you. The Liverpool one, the Jurgen Klopp signed shirt, is in storage. I say in storage like it's something fancy. It's just in my storage cupboard in my house, packed away. So I'm not going to get that one out because I want to keep it in good nick. But this is this is probably a job for the larger widescreen camera, isn't it? This is the Thierry Henry signed shirt, which is obviously very nice. So this is my one. You can see a reflection of my lighting setup here. But that's my one. And the other one is Jurgen Klopp signed. People say no audio. And then other people are saying audio is on. Is this another one of those classic trolls? Is this another one of those classic pranks people play on streamers? Yeah, so yeah. Signed Thierry Henry shirt, signed Jurgen Klopp shirt, both framed. Both fantastic. Maybe one of them could be yours. Oh, apparently some people are saying that it's a YouTube issue. It's YouTube, it legit went off, but had to reload YouTube to get it back. Oh, that's annoying. Okay. Well, I don't know how people who can't hear me right now, I don't know how to communicate that, but hopefully chat can get it covered. But yeah, start the stream again. Okay. Let me just put in the chat then. If your audio is not working, refresh the stream. It's a YouTube issue. And I also put, please don't close the app and go and do something else. Stay here with your mate. Come back to your mate. There we go. Now everyone knows. Oh wait, I got an error. Error, try again. I tried to come back to your mate. I don't know. Maybe have I said a banned word or something? I don't know why. But anyway, iPad lost. Audio lost on iPad, but okay on TV. Weird. Yeah, it wouldn't let me type for a second there either, Jordan. Maybe YouTube is just having some issues. I mean, they're certainly not on my end. I've got all my my statuses for the stream. Everything's good on my end. Captain Virgil van Dijk chasing rank. It's too far. Like, you can chase rank. This is a great week to just go for a pretty sensible captain because the captaincy is so split this week. You can chase really, really well this week by going for any captain pretty much because every single captain option is going to have a significant amount of managers not going for them. You can go for Haaland and you're still going to have like 50% of FPL managers not going for Haaland captain. So you still be trying to, have an opportunity to beat 50% of captaincies just by going for the most popular one, which will be Haaland. So it's a really, really good week to just go for the captain who you think will score the most points rather than having to try and force anything different. It's just a good week for captain options and trying to do something different. Well, I mean, sorry, I said do something different. You can do anything. It's always going to be different. Well, there we go. Jose says, hey, Dan, I'm going to throw a fact in here. If for the last 4 seasons you had brought in an experienced player with history in the club like Alexis Sanchez or kept Ozil, Arsenal would have won at least 2 to 4 EPLs. What, as in... Wait, you think if we had Alexis Sanchez or Ozil in the last 4 years, their current ability, Arsenal would have won something? I don't know, man, about that. Or do you mean someone kind of that class? Well, I would probably argue that, no, yeah, he's not an attacker, but like Declan Rice, is he... I would say he is, a world-class player that we brought in, Arsenal. I get what you're saying with regards to experience. I think, to be honest, though, Arsenal really are looking to build something long-term, aren't they, really? So I think buying reasonably young players has been part of that strategy and watching them grow, which I think hopefully is going to get Arsenal in the right place eventually. Could even be this year. And then long term, I don't think anyone will be saying, Arsenal should have signed experienced players if in a few years' time Arsenal have got 1-2 Premier League medals or maybe even a Champions League medal under their belt. Majority of us hate Arsenal, right? Yeah. Yeah, apparently so. Apparently so. The media attack on Arsenal has been crazy. Absolutely wild. Hi, Dan, would you sell Rice for Wirtz? Earlier in the week, I was thinking, yes, I probably would. But the closer we get to deadline, the more worried I am about Wirtz's minutes. I really kind of hoped Wirtz would get rested in the Champions League, but he wasn't. He started. I'm now kind of more leaning towards sticking with Rice, to be honest. Just more secure, more safe. Rice to Dango? No, I don't think I'd do that. There's not many players I think I'd sell Rice for. Wirtz is maybe one of them. Bruno is definitely one of them. Salah is definitely one of them. I don't know who else I would be desperate to sell Rice for this week. Next week, a different question. I sell Rice for pretty much anyone. I heard on another stream that Wirtz isn't starting this week. Well, they said that as fact. I would check. I would be more cautious about what you believe on the internet because the game isn't even till tomorrow. The lineup has probably not even been decided for 100% in the club itself. So they probably have training today. They're probably wrapping up soon, but yeah, no, be careful with what you believe on the internet. I think there's a very good chance Wirtz starts tomorrow. Who should I captain out of Ekatike or Bruno? Bruno for me. Not as a fact, apparently a reliable Liverpool source. Well, who was the streamer? That will, what stream was it? Was it a reliable one? To be fair, unless I see it myself, I'm not gonna. I would probably never believe it. Jackson, you're being a little cryptic. That was FPL Tom. I like FPL Tom a lot, but I've never known him to be a team news guy. But maybe he's right. But that's not enough for me. It's not enough for me. Buy Anderson or Dango? It's really tough, man. Like, both are good. Dango is a little riskier, but maybe a higher upside. Anderson, safe, secure. You know what you're getting. Really good pick. They're both great picks. Just a case of risk versus security. FPL Tom did a coin flip for Haaland, Rodgers to Salah, Joao Pedro. He got the Salah option. Oh man, good for him, man. It's gonna be an interesting one. A lot of people doing it, man. A lot of people are selling Haaland. A lot of people are selling Haaland. In fact, should we do a poll? I think we pretty much know where the captain debate is. Most of you guys are going for, well, actually not most of you. About half of you guys are going for Bruno. About 20 to 25% going for each of Haaland and Ekitike, and the rest on other. So let's poll here. I want to see how many of you guys are actually selling Haaland. So, are you selling Haaland? Are you selling? Okay, I'll rephrase the question. Will you have Haaland in your team? Because some people may have already sold him, maybe even in previous game weeks. Will you have Haaland in your team this game week? Yes and no. I sold / selling / never had. Let's see. Okay. Right. So Never with a super chat here says, can't decide. Please help. Chalobah to Virgil. Play Haaland, sell him game week 31, have no bench. Or O'Reilly Haaland, Rice to Virgil, JP and Joao Pedro and Burmo. Full bench for game week 31. Well, you could always just do a -4 next game week. Like, that is also absolutely fine. But honestly, I don't think I'm going to have a bench in game week 31. I don't think it matters that much. I think I'd rather go without a bench than start taking hits for bench players. When I look at those options, honestly, I'd rather just do Chalobah to Virgil than take the -4. I think there is some risk attached to Haaland to Joao Pedro. There's some risk attached to Rice to Mbeumo. I think Haaland, if you look at Haaland and Rice and compare them to Joao Pedro and Mbeumo, I don't think it's cut and dry who scores more points out of those two players, two sets of players, two pairs of players. It's probably pretty tight between the two pairs, regardless. In fact, if anything, if you want to ask me, would you rather have Haaland and Rice or Joao Pedro and Mbeumo in your team? I maybe even slightly lean towards Haaland and Rice. So as such, to use a transfer and then take a -4 on it, I don't know. When you can just do Chalobah to Virgil. Is O'Reilly to Virgil an option? I don't know. Maybe that's an option. Maybe that has the knock-on effect of helping you next week too, because you can just play Chalobah next week. But yeah, I would prefer not to take a hit. And by the way, I should say, thank you so much for all of the super chats today. You guys have been absolutely pumping the super chats today. It really is helpful, in particular because I've noticed, and you may have noticed as well, my computer is on its last legs. It's I don't know if you ever see, like, in videos, I'll suddenly go, Like I'll just stutter because like I've got loads of stuff plugged into it and it's struggling to keep up. This was a great laptop 5 years ago when I got it. And pretty much 5 years ago, 4 years ago maybe. We kind of on one of our first FPL Mate paychecks, getting a top quality MacBook. But I use it every day. It is starting to get a bit drained. So the plan was to get a new laptop, to get a brand new MacBook. It's a nice little business expense over the international break and just use the international break to just transfer everything over. So the super chats are very, very helpful because we're about to have a very, very expensive investment. Buy a normal PC. I'd rather take a laptop. I prefer Macs to PCs. They just work better for my personal workflow, for design and stuff like that. I don't play video games, so I don't really need a gaming computer or anything like that. And then it's also really useful because I'm making content pretty much every day and I always have to be around. Having a laptop is also super, super useful for when I'm not at home, which does happen occasionally. And like the latest MacBooks are for what I'm doing. And to be fair, unless you're playing really, really high-end games, or really, really difficult processing games, a brand new MacBook with the highest specs is just as powerful as a PC. So there's no real benefit. And a laptop can do everything a PC can do for me. Plus I can just unplug it and take it wherever I need to go. If I want to work downstairs, and hang out with my wife for a little bit while she's watching some shows or something like that, if I'm just doing some easy kind of work that is not no real time pressure, pick up the laptop and go elsewhere and have just the same amount of processing power wherever I am in the house. I like this. Will it run Frogger? See, that's the important question. Rocket League stream. You see, if I was doing Rocket League streams, maybe I'd have a different answer there. So yeah, I don't think I really need a streaming or gaming PC. The new MacBooks are so powerful, man. They really are. They're expensive. They are more expensive than PCs, but they do everything I need. And I'd rather just make the investment because it will last me. Basically, a laptop because it's mobile. Yeah, it has the benefits of being mobile. It has the benefits of using the operating system that I'm used to and works with my workflow, and has none of the disadvantages of a versus a PC. So it makes no sense for me to get a PC. Basically, it makes no sense whatsoever. Hi mate, till date, how many jerseys do you have? That's a really good question. I don't know, but I think probably 50 plus, which is not bad considering I think I started collecting maybe 5 years ago. So I probably average about 10 new jerseys a year. Actually, no, I don't. I probably get more than that per year. So maybe we're at like 60. I don't know, man. I don't know. A lot. I'd rather not know, because if I know how many, then I'll start making mental calculations of how much I've spent on football shirts. I appreciate the big screen of a desktop. Yeah, but you can close your laptop lid, put it off to the side, have it plugged into as many monitors as you want. And, a laptop these days can plug into a monitor. So it's like no problem. A multi-monitor system with a laptop is absolutely fine. It works. So, yeah. Cole says, hello, bro. What's going on with your views at the moment? It doesn't make sense. I don't know, man. I don't know. I had a really, really rough week for views on YouTube. I don't know why. Maybe, did I swear in a video? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think one problem, and we've kind of seen this the last couple of years, well, what I've found with my personal kind of view numbers kind of thing, is the FA Cup breaks and the international breaks every other week. We've got midweek game weeks, game week deadlines being in random places. I mean, even today, we've got a 1:30 deadline instead of a 11 a.m. deadline. So there is a lot of inconsistency, and I think that does disengage a lot of FPL managers. Not you guys, because you guys are locked in, and this is why most of you guys will be winning your mini leagues this season. But those who are not as locked in, I don't know. Miss Noopy says, you're not coming up in my notifications. See, that's crazy. There's no reason. I don't know, man. Like, why? Why not? Why am I not in the notifications? I don't know. I'm probably going to need some help next week. With the hypes and the likes. But you guys helped me out massively with yesterday's team selection video with the likes and the comments and stuff, and I really, really do appreciate it. But yeah, I'm probably going to need your help a little bit next week, guys. I really do appreciate it. I truly, truly do. So got a super chat here from I don't know, I'm not sure how I'm going to say this. Akiled, I think. It's confusing because there's I don't know why it does this. It shows me people's ats on YouTube now. It used to show me people's names. Now I have to look at people's ats. And sometimes you've got first names mixed with surnames in one long string of letters. Anyway, this person says, hi Dan, start Krupi or Alderete if Wilson isn't available, or start Wilson and hope he plays for the next game week. Do I take out Arsenal or Man City defenders over Krupi? I mean, I play Arsenal and Man City defenders over Krupi Jr. this week. I think I would start Wilson over Krupi and Alderete. I think I would start... Yeah, I would start Wilson before Krupi and Alderete. And if Wilson is, it needs an auto sub off, maybe the safe option is to put Alderete first bench, and the riskier option is to put Krupi first bench. So I think I'd lean towards Alderete because I think with your bench players, you perhaps do want a little bit more security. So I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, a few more people saying having to find me manually because not getting the notification. That's frustrating. Jackson says there's a bit of a lull in the season at the moment. Yeah, I mean, for sure there is. For sure there is. The stop-start nature of FPL at the moment is, it is obviously a problem. And people will blame things like DEFCON being too complicated or whatever. I don't really think it's that. I think it's the stop-start nature of FPL, which is frustrating, but it is. But it is what it is. This is the new age. I think it may improve when more games are televised in the UK. When more football games are televised in the UK, I think that will help a little bit. It'll take off when the double game weeks come around. It should do. I hope so. Only 9 likes on the stream. Does that make a difference? Carl, I promise you there's probably more than 9 likes on the stream. It was probably 9 likes when you arrived. And if you were to refresh, it would update the like counter. I'm hoping we're on like at least 150 by now. Maybe even 200 if we're lucky. Because they do help. But anyway, we are getting a little off topic again. You guys are very good at distracting me. I have to give you that one. I have to give you that one. Usually I like to save the free-for-all chat for for post-deadline, which we will do. We're going to stick around till at least the team news today. It's 200 on the dot. Whoa. Wow. Good to know. Good to know. Never, thank you very much for becoming a member of the channel. I know you often do leave a comment and super chats and stuff, and it's great to have you now as a member. Yeah, by the way, just to let you know, to anyone joining as members, let's do the super chat first, actually. And then we're going to do the bench list. Couple of super chats, bench list. There we go. And then I'll talk to you in a minute. Never and any other new members. Temi says, to afford Mukiele to Virgil, I have to downgrade Mbermo or Rice to maybe Anderson. Please advise, is it worth it? Okay, well, if you are keen on that move and you really do want to get Virgil, then the way to do that would be to move Rice to Anderson, because Rice doesn't play next week anyway. Anderson's got a good fixture next week. I quite like Anderson as a pick. I've had him for a very long time. I missed his haul last week, but I love him as an FPL pick. I don't think I'd downgrade Mbermo because he's very useful for that game against Bournemouth in 31. So, if you are desperate to get Mukiele to Virgil, and assuming this is for free as well, then Rice to Anderson, I think, could be worthwhile. But only for free, not for a hit. If it causes more benching headaches, it's probably a bad move. But if it really improves your squad for this week and indeed next, And yeah, I think it's worth it. And it would be Rice, not Mbamo. Roy Machete says, I'm selling Haaland for Ekatike and captaining him. Am I mad? A little bit. A little bit. I don't think Ekatike is a particularly better pick than Haaland this week. Because of that risk factor about the minutes. I think there is a risk. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do the Haaland poll is, I think there could be some disappointment this week. I think some people might do Haaland to Ekatike or Haaland to Joao Pedro and actually end up pretty down on that move because Haaland's, starts, scores a goal. Ekatike ends up being on the bench, gets a 1-pointer. All of these things are possible. And if you've acknowledged all of these possibilities and still saying, I'm going to take the risk, I'm going to do it, then fair enough. But what you can't do is say, I took the risk, I feel really unlucky that it went wrong, because it's, in a way, if you're taking a risk, you kind of just have to accept it. And if you're willing to do that, then go for it. Sell Haaland, buy Salah, get Joao Pedro, get Ekatike. Joao Pedro, in fairness, probably a little safer than Ekatike. Ekatike with a higher ceiling. There are just risks, a lot of risks this week. And that is the difficulty with the pretty busy schedule a lot of Premier League teams have been facing recently. So there you go. Right, before we do the bench list, just wanted to remind any members, come and join in with we've got plenty of perks for members. There are loads of perks. Take advantage of them. My planning sheets are in a Google Drive, where I'm constantly updating the double game weeks and blank game weeks. I've got my planning sheets in there. We've got some other stuff in there. You can come and join the 100 Experts private chat if you've linked your YouTube account to your Discord account. You can come and join in there and join the conversation there. We have team rating streams every Thursday, most Thursdays. It depends on when the deadlines are because it can get complicated. But we'll have one next week. Come and join in. It'll be Thursday, 7 p.m. UK time. We'll be rating your team. So if you are a new member, make sure you're taking advantage of the perks. That's what they're there for. They're here to reward you for, and hopefully allow me to give you something back for you supporting the channel and helping me get that laptop. Get the new MacBook in. And with that said, guys, I think it is just about time we do this week's bench list with 1 hour to go until deadline. And indeed, probably going to have to discuss the differences between Anderson and Anderson for the millionth time. Maybe we'll cool on that one a little bit. So I'm just going to add a couple of players in just to kick the ball off, get the ball rolling, should I say? And I don't know, I'll probably let you guys help me out from here. Right, okay. Let's get it on screen. And then you guys can start telling me who to put on there. Bench list. Okay. Suggestions for bench list players. I'm going to put Anderson here, actually, right away. Anarud says, of these 4, which 2 to bench? All right, we can put them all on the bench list, I think. So, I think I'll put Enzo Fernandez over Rodgers on the bench list right now. Krupa Jr. Would I put Krupa Jr. above Rodgers? No, because the minutes risk is too risky. And Wilson's already on there. So they are all on the bench list ready to go. Max has got a few suggestions for us by the looks of things. And so is James. Let's do James's first. Anderson with an E. No one better ask me which Anderson is which. Anderson is going to go there. Richards. Do I put Richards below Anderson? It's a tough one, man. I'm going to put Richards ahead of Anderson today. Just because I'm not 100% sure Anderson for Fulham even starts this game week. I mean, he probably will, but I don't think we can be 100% sure because Fulham, done okay without him defensively. I don't know. Maybe. Okay, who else? Alderete. So does Alderete even go above? Maybe that's a little more questionable. Maybe I'll put Defcon man though. He's doing so well. Alderete is like up there with Hill for Defcon recent game weeks. James Hill going high to the extent where he would go above some of these midfielders. I'm going to pair him with Senesi because most of you guys will have one or the other. But I do prefer Hill to Senesi if I had to choose. We've done Wilson, we've done Alderete, we've done Hill. What about Deckers? Declan Rice. So I think I would put Declan Rice in a similar place to Mbermo. Virgil. I don't think we probably don't need Virgil on there. I'll put Ryan on there just because I know some people have him. I think you're happy with Ryan, aren't you? Although I do prefer Tavernier. But like, to be honest, if you have, I'm not going to put Tavernier on here because I think if you're smart enough to buy Tavernier, you're smart enough to play him this week. So I don't think he needs to go on there. O'Reilly. Collins is interesting. Might be worth taking a risk on Collins this week. If I had still had Collins, would I play him? I think I would. Above a lot of players. He's not perfect. But then again, who is? Munoz would, for me, maybe go below Hill and Hill and Senesi. Not super far, but you know, in that ballpark. A few people with DCL. Okay, Calvert-Lewin. That's a minor injury issue, isn't there, with Calvert-Lewin? A minor injury issue that is a little worrying. That would, for me, probably put him down here. But like then again, Wilson doesn't even have a good fixture though. That's the problem. The problem with Wilson is his fixture's not that good and he's potentially injured. So there's multiple reasons to bench him, even though he's a fabulous FPL option. The problem is with Calvert-Lewin, he's a player you are taking a risk with minutes. Could get like a 1-pointer. So in that sense, does he actually go below Wilson? I'm going to put him below Munoz, at least. I'm also going to shrink the size of this. Taking up too much space. Right. We've got Calvert-Lewin on there now. What are we missing? I mean, a few shouts for Dango, to be fair. Oh, you play Dango, don't you? Ahead of Mbermo? Maybe not. Ahead of Rice? I'm going to say yes ahead of Rice. We should put Odango there, so no confusion. Samrat says, in midfield, brother, I have Bruno, Mbermo, Dango, Tavernier, Semenyo in attack, Haaland, Thiago. Who do I start? Oh, my word. Do not ask me to answer that. There is no good answer. I would definitely start Bruno and I'd definitely start Tavernier. There is an argument to bench Dango. There is a strong argument to bench Dango. But you know, you are set up for a lot of pain, Samrat. But yeah, if I had to bench one of those guys, it would probably be Dango. Because I think a lot of the other guys are kind of non-negotiable when it comes to playing them. Maybe Mbermo is possibly an exception, but no. It's really difficult. Cole, KOL, see you later, man. Thank you for joining. Verbruggen, as the first goalkeeper on the bench list, he can be both first and last this week. It's not a bad fixture, is it, for Verbruggen? It's good week to be a Verbruggen owner. I mean, Ray is still, above. Dubravka. Let's throw Dubravka on here. The answer to that, guys, do you have your bench boost? Maybe. Still try and wait for a double, I think. Right, who else needs to go on here? Wilson's on there already. A couple of people asking for Gahey and O'Reilly. So I think we can put Gahey and O'Reilly on here. O'Reilly is a minute's risk. And I think for that reason, we have to be a little cautious about where we put him. I'm going to put him here. I'm going to put Gahey above, though. Maybe even above Enzo, actually. Just because at least you've got a little more security of minutes. Is Tarkowski bottom? Yeah. Tarkowski's bottom, all right. Because a lot of the other players towards the bottom are DEFCON defenders anyway. I mean, it's pretty harsh that Anderson is still on the bottom. We just haven't had any worse players mentioned yet. Garner? Looking at 4 points max from Garner, aren't you? So maybe just because he's secure, he does give security and a high, an okay floor, but absolutely no ceiling. Maybe he can go there. Any Brentford defender would. I don't know. Vandenberg, like, is going to go. You're probably going to play him. If you have Vandenberg, you've picked him up with the intention of playing him this week, right? Kelleher this week is good. Better than Verbruggen, some might say. Still not better than Raya. Wow, Munoz before Wilson. Interesting, definitely not most people's view. I'm really worried about minutes, though, man, with Wilson. And also, I don't think it's that good of a fixture. Like, Wilson has not been playing. He's not fully fit. Even if he does start, he's not going to be in full fitness. If he does start, he's not going to play full 90. It's an away fixture. The fixture is not that good, in my opinion, against a pretty negative team. And, you know, can you say Wilson is in good form when he hasn't kicked a ball in, you know, a couple of weeks? Probably not. So I think Wilson is certainly okay. Like, he's fine. He's fine. But this is not really his week for me. Next week, when he's built up a bit more fitness, minutes are more secure, the fixture's better. Hey, I'm all aboard the Wilson train, guys. Choo choo. Choo choo Wilson. I might even buy him. But right this second, don't know. What's up with Alderete? Why is he so low? I mean, I don't love the fixture against Brighton, but honestly, I look at a lot of these picks and I think these guys are only low because we haven't got, like, if we started throwing in players like that a lot of people don't like, Tarkowski, then, you know, we could start boosting Alderete up by just including more players that I think most people know you're probably going to bench this week. In that case, why is Wilson ahead of Enzo? Well, because it's a balance, isn't it? There are definitely some negatives to Wilson this week, but there are also some positives. And the positives are that when he does play, he's on set pieces. He is, you know, the hub of the team. And even if he's not in his absolute top form, he's always going to have routes to points. So, yeah, Wilson, I don't think, is an elite pick this week. But I also don't think he's a bad pick this week, which is probably why he sits right in the middle. Right there in the middle of the bench list, because he's good, but maybe not great this week. Next week, different conversation entirely. Collins must be above that. Well, the difficulty is with Collins is minutes. We don't actually know if he's going to start or not. That does have to come into question. At least a little bit. Right, let's take a pause on the bench list because I want to check out this poll that you guys have been voting in. We've got over 1,000 votes on the poll now. So, will you have Haaland in your team this game week? 68% of you guys said yes, and 32% of you guys said no. So, bear in mind that probably if we went back 2-3 weeks, maybe 90 to 95% of you guys would have said that Haaland would be in your squad. and now we're down to 69%. It is a drop. It is a significant drop. But that is still most people will have Haaland. There are swings to be had here. If Haaland does really well, you know, you can gain on 31% of people. That's pretty good. If Haaland does poorly, then that 32% are going to gain on 2/3 of people potentially, depending on how well the replacement does, I guess. So, yeah, that's fun, man. That's fun. I think in the overall player base, I think more people have Haaland, more people will well, maybe not necessarily more people will have Haaland, but of those that keep Haaland, more will captain him. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one. We're starting to see different people go in different directions right now. I like it, man. I like it. Anil, thank you very much for becoming a. Have I even read that right? Analedra Chapman. A cool name. Anna Ledra Chapman. Anyway, thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel. Mucho apreciado. Right. Spurs players in general. Yeah, there you go. If we were to include Spurs players on here, then yeah, Alderete would look pretty high on the list. A lot of people asking about taking out Haaland to put in Joao Pedro. It's not something I would do. Samrat says, brother, make suggestions for us who don't have a wild card right now. Save your transfers, man. Save your if you don't have a wild card, save your transfers because you're probably going to need them. And it's very, if you don't have a wild card, it's very difficult to really commit anywhere right now because there is still a lot of mystery when it comes to double and blank game weeks because there are so many possibilities. So being prepared for the unexpected is probably the biggest tip you can give to someone who already has used a wild card. Roll if possible. Don't make transfers that are unnecessary. So, for example, if you've used your wild card and you're thinking, oh, I've got Haaland, but I kind of want Joao Pedro, look at the transfer and say, is this enough of an upgrade to be worth a transfer? I would say it's not. I think both players are good. But if you're trying to be cautious with your transfers, you have to hold back on some of the more luxurious moves, I guess. So I really do hope that helps for those who have used their wildcards. How many of you guys have used your wildcard, by the way? Just show of hands. I'm not going to do a poll for this one. Show of hands in the chat. Who's got their wildcard and who has already used it? Just to get an idea. Best goalkeeper for game week 31. You're looking at. I was going to say whoever starts in goal for Chelsea, but that's a mystery right now, isn't it? Nick Pope, Leno. Nick Pope will play against Sunderland. Leno will play against Everton. There's not much out there, is there? Allison against Brighton. Tough. There's not a lot out there. Callagher, maybe, as a sensible choice against Leeds. Anna's still got the wild card. Carl James still got the wild card. Aviles used theirs. A few of you guys used yours. Anik has used theirs in Gameweek 27. Ooh. Some used, some kept. I think the rate is like, I was looking at the numbers in the kind of active player base, like top 1 million or whatever. Something like 30% of managers have used their wild card already. So yeah, I think there's a lot of people in both camps right now. And as always, next week, a lot of people will look at their team and realize why, and this won't be you guys. You guys know what you're doing. But a lot of people will look at their team and be like, why are none of my players playing this week? And for those people, a lot of them will pull the trigger on the wild card and they will suffer later for it, but they won't know that, of course, until later. So plenty of opportunities. Stephen Hughes, Danny's still got the wild card, bench boost, and free hit. Same three as me, Danny. Same by name, same chips remaining. Connor says, how come so many people are overlooking Ekitike captain considering Spurs' injury list and form? And yeah, I think we are all expecting Liverpool to score a few goals against Spurs. However, it's really tough to say who will actually start for Liverpool, because for Liverpool, the second Champions League game against Galatasaray is really important. And someone like Ekitike is, to a degree, rotation risk. And even if Ekitike starts this week, early subs are like so on. It's happening. If Ekitike starts, he's getting an early sub. He's not making it to 80 minutes, probably. 60, 70 minutes is probably more realistic for him. So I think that's a issue people have with Ekitike. You know, you even if he starts, you're kind of down on 30% of his minutes compared to Bruno, who will play 100% of minutes. So I think that's the reason why Ekitike is being overlooked a little bit. It's because of that slight rotation risk. And also, Liverpool fans don't seem to be confident in this game, and I don't really understand why. Because Liverpool at home to Spurs, always a battering, and that's when Spurs are actually doing okay, which they are absolutely not right now. And the injury situation at Spurs is just, jeez Louise, jeez Louise. I'm not saying that we know which Liverpool players are going to start, but if you don't have at least 2 Liverpool players in your squad, I wowould be frightened this week, because going without Liverpool players this week could go very wrong. Very wrong. Brentford 39% clean sheet odds from Rob T. Start Kyoto over Rodgers. You could do, to be fair. That is good odds. That is good odds. I actually, you know what? I haven't even checked the updated odds from this morning. Should we have a little look? I think we should. Hang on, let me find it, and then we'll throw it on screen for you guys. See what Rob T's got for us. Right, here we go. So here it is. So what we're looking at, Liverpool 2.63 projected goals, quite high. Man City 2.01, Chelsea looking pretty good, 1.96, Brentford 1.96. So they're going to be ahead of both Arsenal and Man United at 1.91. But like, there's not, outside of Liverpool, there's not really enough of a difference between City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, Brentford. So they're all going to have opportunities to get goals. Bournemouth not even too far behind either, 1.81 against Burnley. This could be a high-scoring game week, you know. There is a lot of opportunities here. There really is. Like, we've got Arsenal 50% clean sheet. We've got Liverpool and Brentford 39% clean sheet. Even Bournemouth, Brighton, Man United, City, Palace, Forest. They're not, like, bad odds. Particularly Liverpool and Brentford, which look pretty good. Pretty strong, actually. And then you've also, not only have you got lots of, I think it's basically a lot of stronger teams are facing maybe some weaker teams or out of form teams. Could be a good week, man. It could be a really good scoring week. Like 80-point week, maybe. Maybe average of 70 points. Don't curse it, Dan. 1-1 draws galore incoming. Yeah, you could be right. You could be right. Whose minutes do you prefer, Ekitike or Semenyo? That is the $1 million question, isn't it? Whose minutes do I prefer? I prefer Semenyo's. I honestly don't think there's much in it. I prefer Ekitike as a pick this week. If it's a general question, I prefer Ekitike to Semenyo, because I think even if you put Semenyo's minutes slightly ahead of Ekitike's, I think you put the matchup and the ability to score FPL points is maybe falls in favor of Ekitike this week compared to Semenyo. So so minutes, who do I prefer? It's close. Maybe Semenyo. Which pick do I prefer? Ekitike. Which is not what I was asked, but I've answered anyway. Super chat from Debatica, who said, Deb here. 1, Enzo, Wilson, Rice, Anderson, Bruno. Any transfer suggested? Bruno's great, Rice is great, Anderson's great. Enzo and Wilson, they're okay. They're fine. Like, they're not like must-sell players or anything like that. So, well, certainly Wilson you're not going to sell. Enzo, I think the fact that he plays Everton next week, you could sell him. But Wilson you're going to keep. Defence, I don't know if I suggest any transfer out of those. Unless you want to sell Enzo. And maybe I'd go Enzo to Tavernier. I've got here Gabriel Hill, Anderson, Richards, Alderete. Transfers just... Okay, so looking at your defenders. Gabriel Hill, great. Then play probably Richards of those 3 other guys. Forward to Haaland, Thiago Exike, which is great. Yeah, okay. I think in your scenario, Deb, I would maybe do Enzo to Tavernier. Maybe. Or you could roll. You could also roll. The player you're maybe missing is Virgil. And I think there is also an argument, and this will benefit you in game week 31. If this is affordable, Enzo to... I don't know how much money you have in the bank, but if you do Enzo to Tavernier, in theory, that would free up at least 1 million. Would that allow you to do something interesting like Richards to Virgil? Might be pushing it a little bit. But like maybe. I'm looking at your squad and it maybe looks like a squad where there might be some money in the bank there. If you can afford to do Enzo to Tavernier and upgrade Richards to Virgil, I would do it and I would spend both transfers. That's what I would do. Anthony says, I only have Virgil as a Liverpool player. I'm not saying you need to make transfers, but I would definitely be worried. At least a little bit worried. I wouldn't force a Liverpool attacker into your team. But I would maybe try and find a way. Maybe. We need to... I think we need to put some more players on the bench list, don't we? Or do we? Let's give it another 5 minutes, then we'll go back to the bench list. The Sebs says, love your content. Should I start Canate or Hill or Senesi? Oh man, you want to start them all. You want to start them all. If I had to start one of those guys, Canate is the sensible option. But I think I would choose Hill and hope for an attacking return. Because Canate, not really going to get an attacking return. Senesi, less likely to get an attacking return than Hill. So I think I would lean towards Hill over Canate this week. So if I had to play one, him. FPL Scott's here. Team Salah. Man, it's so crazy. I'm seeing a lot of people going over to Team Salah, from Team Haaland to Team Salah. It's going to be really interesting to see the shake-up. Who ends up doing what. This could be swingy, man. Not only could this be a high-scoring game week, but it also could be a swingy game week. And last game week was swingy. If you somehow manage to be on the end of back-to-back positive swings from last week and this week, someone who did well last week and also does well this week could be up. Like they could be like quartered their rank. And alternatively, if you did poorly last game week and you also do poorly this week, you could be in some very large amounts of trouble. But actually, I think a lot of the players that were stronger for last week are maybe slightly weaker this week. So actually, I think it might balance out a little bit. Your thoughts on my moves of Richards to Hill and Creepy to Ekatike? If that's for free, I love it. I absolutely love it. Could be a low-scoring game week as Marmoush and Gakpo get hat-tricks. Maybe. I just feel like this is more of a Haaland game than a Marmoush game because Marmoush is not going to get any space in this game, and I think he might struggle with that. Whereas Haaland, a bit more physical, a bit more aerial, suits him a little more, right? He can stay central and he can spam crosses whilst West Ham sit in their box. There's more of a Haaland game for me than the Marmoush game. Gakpo versus Ekatike is interesting, though. I'm actually slightly more convinced on Haaland's minutes than I am on Ekatike's right now. Dubravka or Pickford to start? Maybe I just about prefer Dubravka to Pickford. Just because Arsenal don't actually take that many shots. They have a lot of the ball, but they don't take that many shots. Whereas Bournemouth, Burnley have slightly higher clean sheet odds against Bournemouth, and I think Bournemouth will take more shots, which lends itself to save points more. Oh, it's a -8. Oh, in that case, I hate it. Oh, I hate it. Unless it seriously, unless a -8 seriously improves your team for next week, I wouldn't even be thinking about it. It's too much uncertainty, man. Save your -8s for when we really need them, and a good chance we will. What's your thoughts on Haaland captaincy, especially with a history versus West Ham? Well, I'm not really that much into my historical results. And a big part of that is, how many different managers have West Ham had over the period? How many different players have they had? How many different systems have they had? It's not the same team that Haaland's playing this game week compared to last season or 2 seasons ago. So I do try and temper my expectations when it comes to what happened in previous years compared to this year. But I still think it is a fixture that generally suits him. And that maybe that has lended itself to good scores in the past to a degree. But yeah, no, I have no problem with the Haaland captaincy. I think it's a strong captaincy. I just think we've also got an opportunity to go against Haaland this week. And that's probably what I'm thinking about doing. I am very tempted. I was, when we started this stream, I was so comfy on my Bruno captain. But I can't lie, there is some small part of me saying, if a lot of people are going for Bruno now, is the tide shifting and people are more going for Bruno now? Could there be an opportunity to go for Haaland this week? I don't know. I think I'm just going to stick with Bruno, to be honest. But Haaland I like as a captain too. Stefan says, 1 free transfer, Haaland in the team, all chips available. Should I do Haaland and Q for Richards and Joao Pedro, or just Ruffs to Kelleher? I have 3 Arsenal and 3 City in total. Oh, wait. 3 Arsenal and City in total. Okay. So combined or 3 of each? I think combined, right? It depends. It depends because if you're doing Haaland and Gu to Thiago and Joao Pedro, and that means you're going to end up benching an Anderson or a Rice or a Wilson or something like that, then I probably wouldn't do it because honestly, I quite like Haaland. Or at least I don't mind Haaland. You're not too loaded up on Arsenal and City. You probably don't have Raya because you have Ruffs. So that is a small problem. Is it strictly necessary? If you're going to just cause yourself benching headaches this week, then I wouldn't do it. But if you feel strongly that you want to do it, of course you should do it. Ruffs is targeting Gameweek 31 as a return date. But if you're worried about that, against Newcastle anyway, away from home, maybe the Kelleher move is slightly more sensible. But also, is there an argument to just play Dubravka if you have him? You have only 3 Arsenal City next week, so that's your bench anyway for next week. You're going to have a starting 11 regardless. Of course, Q is going to have to be dealt with. Only 1 free transfer, though. This would be for hit. I think I would roll. Ironically, I think I would roll because I don't think Haaland and Gu to Thiago and Joao Pedro is worth a hit. I don't think a goalkeeper transfer is worth doing if you only have 1 free transfer. You're probably going to have to resolve something next game week because you have Gu and you have 3 Arsenal and City. So therefore, 2 free transfers next week is going to be pretty useful to you. I think I would roll. Either roll or take the hit if you really, really feel strongly about it. So there we go. Anthony says, all right, you've convinced me. I'll bring in Szoboszlai for Rodgers. Now watch Rodgers finally get a return this game. It could happen. But no, I like Szoboszlai for this week. I do like him for this week. Shall I do Rice to Wirtz this week? If you really want to. I don't think it is an essential move because there is still some risk with Wirtz's minutes. Just to give you an audio update, guys, we are just under 30 minutes until deadline now. 29 minutes, more like. So, yeah, we do need to start to begin to compile your final thoughts. Sid Vicious says, Munoz and Gu to Hill and Joao Pedro for free. Do you currently have 6 players, including Raya, Blanca, Game Week 31? Ooh. That is quite a lot. Would it be down to 4 if you make the 2 transfers though, including Raya? Because if so, you do Munoz and Gu to Hill, Joao Pedro for free this game week, then you bench Raya and your other 3 Blancas next week, and you're sorted. I think I would do that. I would do those moves. If I've assessed that situation correctly, then I would make those moves this week. Hello, Nikhil. I'm doing very well, mate. Hope you're doing good too. Right, where are we next? Triple captain Haaland this week? No, definitely not, Paul. Definitely not. That is a bridge too far. I mean, I'm not even regular captaining Haaland, so yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't be triple captaining him. I don't think there's going to be better opportunities for him, for sure. Would you sell Sobos to Salah and Haaland to Joao Pedro? Probably not, to be honest. How limited are Haaland's minutes looking? I personally think Haaland's going to start from a tactical perspective. But look, there's every chance he, 70-minute sub, which is what puts me off captaining him. Big plan was to bench boost Wilson, Hill, Munoz, Dubravka on the bench. Too risky with the injury doubts. Yeah, it probably is. It probably is. There'll be other opportunities, Jacob. There'll be other opportunities. If you had a clean bill of health, then yeah, you'd definitely be thinking about it, but a little risky. Max says, I'm a little nervy captaining Ekatike, might switch to Bruno. And look, Ekatike is a nervy captain. Bruno is just safe and comfy and, boring, if you like, captain. It's okay to take a little risk now and again, but if you're not comfortable with it, then you absolutely shouldn't. Danny says, hi Dan, great streamer. I have Mukiele, a lot of players still rolling 2 transfers. Who to sell next week and who to buy? Depends who you have. Like next week, you're going to be looking primarily at players like Wilson at Fulham. You're going to be looking at Wirtz, maybe Salah, maybe Ekatike, maybe Thiago, maybe some Man United guys, Bruno and Burmo in attack. In defence, you're maybe looking at players like Malik Chow against Sunderland, or maybe a Chelsea defender against Everton. Yeah, there's loads of players. There's loads of good players for next week, which is why I think a lot of people will be able to survive next week just fine. There's lots of solid options. Do I bench Rice or Ryan? I'm chasing. Oh, I think you have to play Ryan. If you have Ryan, he's your differential, man. Will Wirtz play today? I'd be worried if he did. I don't think Wirtz is going to play today. But I do think he's going to play tomorrow. That is my personal opinion. Start 1 of Joao Pedro, Frimpong, and Ekatike. Oh, you 100% play Ekatike. 100%. There is not an FPL team in existence that shouldn't play Ekatike this week. Ekatike is like top. And by the way, Ekatike very much boom or bust. He has a very good chance of getting 1 point, Ekatike, but he also has a very good chance of getting like 20 points. We could see what Joao Pedro did last week. Ekatike has the potential to do this week. There is also a chance he gets benched and does nothing. But I think in every scenario, it'd be worth taking the risk and playing Ekatike for everyone. Now, some people talking about captain Ekatike, so you can't be thinking about benching him. Bench list? Okay, bench list it is. Bench list it bloody is. Who are we adding? Who's missing? No differentials, please. Are you considering a bench boost? Look, I thought about it. I have. My bench does look decent this week, but it's kind of like, of course, my bench is going to look decent. I've been building a strong bench to cover for Game Week 31, so no duh, my bench looks good. That was kind of the whole intention. My bench is going to be good in other weeks too. I'm going to try and see how the game opens out in terms of blanks and double game weeks before committing to something. I think, there's a very high chance that if I were to bench boost this week, I would regret it later. I would rather have the information before committing. So that's why I'm not bench boosting. But look, if someone was in my situation and decided to bench boost, I would not blame them one bit. Wouldn't blame them at all. Let's throw some more players on the bench list. Someone said Chalobah. I think Chalobah is pretty low here today. Again, no different. Oh, one thing I should say, actually, because I just reminded me, someone said about Raul Jimenez. So I didn't really want to put it on the ticker because I think it's a little, I don't know, maybe disrespectful. But from an FPL perspective, unfortunately, Raul, I believe his father passed away over the last couple of days, which is obviously awful news. And obviously, huge commiserations for Raul Jimenez and his family. And you would definitely be understanding if he were to, maybe not feel up to playing this game week. He has been in training, which is I don't know. I don't know what kind of guy he is. Like, maybe playing football is good for him to keep himself busy. But I think it's from an FPL perspective, it is worth noting. Don't really want to harp on about it though, because I don't think it's really right. But in terms of putting players on the bench list, Sanchez, you play and hope for the best, but I think there's a very solid chance that he finds himself on the bench and you get an auto sub there. What else we got here? Chow against Chelsea would go very low for me. Very, very low. Pickford, I'm actually going to put Pickford below Dubravka. Maybe that's my Arsenal bias coming out. I don't think it is, though, to be fair. We did kind of speak about why I think I prefer Dubravka to Pickford earlier when someone asked that question. I think I justified it. I think. Is Sanchez a risk? Sanchez is for sure a risk. But I don't think I'd spend a transfer. If your goalkeepers are Sanchez and Dubravka, I think transfers are too valuable right now to make a goalkeeper transfer. What happened to Collins? Just rotation risk, man. It's the problem. Why is O'Reilly so low? I do think there is a significant chance that O'Reilly is benched this game week. I think there is a significant chance. Pep's already said he's going to make changes. O'Reilly had a bit of a stinker. Played the full game at left back. Ait-Nouri was benched. I'm not saying O'Reilly is definitely getting benched, but I think we have to account for the risk when deciding whether O'Reilly is going to be high on this list or low on this list. We have to account for the risk of 1-pointers, essentially. Risk Munoz or transfer in Senesi? If you've got a free transfer, I mean, if you pick up Senesi, that's an extra player for Game Week 31. I think I'd probably I would go Hill before Senesi, though. And I don't think I'd double up. Kurt says, yikes, I have no pull. Timber to Virgil? No. Still prefer Arsenal defenders mostly to Virgil. Well, for clean sheets, at least. Technically, I do prefer Virgil to Timber this week, but it's not enough of a difference to justify making a transfer. I don't think. And you could go either way. Timber versus Virgil. Some people will prefer one, some people prefer the other. And that's probably a sign that it's not worth the transfer. Leeds defenders on the bench list. I mean, I could throw in a Rodon / Goodmanson. We'll pair. Actually, Goodmanson is going to be lower than Rodon. I'm just going to throw in Rodon there. And I'm going to put him below Richards, I think. Yeah. I'm happy with that. And Goodmanson would be actually pretty low. Goodmanson would probably be below Anderson. But I'm not putting him on the list because he's too differential. Tavernier transfer in, yeah, I like it. What about Scott from Bournemouth? I mean, differential, so I'm not gonna put him on the list, but where would I put him? Maybe around the Calvert-Lewin Wilson kind of area. Do we know anything about the Fulham starting 11? No, I don't think in the history of me running this FPL YouTube channel we have once got any Fulham early team news. I don't think we've ever had it, which is crazy. Who's your captain? Erling, Ekitike, or Bruno? If you want to stick with me, go for Bruno. But I like Erling, Haaland, and Ekitike too. My preferred for me personally, who I like as captains, my number one is Bruno. My second favorite is Haaland. My third favorite is Ekitike. But if I had Salah, I'd probably put Salah ahead of at least Ekitike, maybe Haaland. Semenyo would not make my top 3. I don't think he'd make my top 4 if we're including Salah. I would, I wouldn't even put him in the top 5. Because even after then, you're looking at Joao Pedro, you're looking at Thiago, you're maybe even looking at Gabriel. There's a lot of players I think are a better captain than Semenyo. And this is what I'm saying. This is going to be a good game week for getting FPL points because there are a lot of players who are good. Jacob says, reasoning for having Enzo higher than Krupi. It's minutes. It's minutes, really. That's the answer. Not really sure where Krupi Jr. really fits in this Bournemouth side now that everyone's available. It's clear that he doesn't have the physicality to play as a 9. Now that Tavernier's back, he is, obviously the best number 10, playing really well. Could put him on one of the wings. Could play him a little deeper where he doesn't really do very much. The rotation risk, the inconsistency of returns. I think Enzo, he's going to play. He's got some set piece share. We've got, we're expecting a few goals for Chelsea. There is at least a chance that Enzo is involved in some of them. I like him. I like him. I don't mind him. I don't think Enzo is that bad as a pick this week. You could do worse. Enzo, he was involved in goals against PSG a few days ago. He can do it. He can do it. Right, Dewsbury Hall and Enzo Lafay. So Dewsbury Hall is like around Ghana, right? You maybe put him here. You're not really expecting attacking returns, but you can maybe get a 4-pointer out of him. Maybe you get an attacking returns. Stranger things have happened. Lafay would go a little higher, perhaps, actually. Maybe we'll just put Lafay here. Oh, wait, it's like this, isn't it? Like that. Too many E's. Too many E's. Too many E numbers. That's usually my problem in these streams. Right. Captain Bruno or Semenyo? Definitely Bruno over Semenyo for me. Definitely. Play Anderson over Wilson? I think I would. If I had Elliot Anderson and Harry Wilson, I would be playing Anderson off the 2. But I don't, so I'm having to bench Anderson. Wait, am I benching Anderson? I am, aren't I? I'm just waiting. I'm just begging for pain at this point. I hate the fact I'm benching Anderson, but I'm not going to think about it. It's nice to have a good, strong bench. It's a nice thing. Soboslai's not going on the bench list. He would go number 1 out of all of these players. Any Liverpool attackers? You play. Matthias says, hey Dan, was it in the team rating video yesterday? Would you still dare risking Haaland and Rice for Ekitike and Salah 2 free transfers and 1.8 in the bank? If you want to take the risk, you're happy to take the risk, then absolutely go for it. Because it improves your team for next week too. As long as you acknowledge the risk, then go for it. Would I do it with my team? Difficult to say because I do have Ekitike. I don't think I would. But I'm trying to play things a little more sensibly this season, so maybe that's a part of that. And, it's also about like where your rank is right now. If you're looking to try and make major gains, then you do it. If you're okay with your rank at least, or you're doing really well, then why risk it? Why? There's no point. Chris, thank you very much for the super sticker there. £1. Thank you very much. If you got any questions, Chris, please feel free to leave one in the chat. I'll try and find you. Start one of Evan Nielsen and Rice. That's an interesting one. Maybe it's worth going for Evan Nielsen. A couple of super chats here. One from TGL Killer. So start Chalobah or Munoz. I start Munoz over Chalobah and captain Bruno or Haaland. I personally would captain Bruno over Haaland, but they are both great options. So Munoz over Chalobah. I prefer Bruno as captain, but Haaland is also great. There's not a wrong answer to that. So if you genuinely have a preference, if you have a preference between Salah, Haaland, Ekatike, Bruno, go for it. I don't think there's a wrong answer there. Deb is here again. Enzo to Tavernier to bring in Virgil, falling 0.2 million short. Damn. However, Rice to Tavernier, I'm able to do Richards to Virgil. Okay. Should I do these 2 transfers or take 3 into Gameweek 31? Have a look at your team. Does it really improve things for next week? Do you feel that it improves things for this week too? If you feel it improves your team for both this week and for next week too, then I would make the moves. However, the fact that you have to do Rice rather than Enzo does put me off a little bit. Just a little bit. But yeah, it's still very valid as a I don't, if you did make that move, I don't think that would be a bad move at all. But it's maybe less essential. Nothing's essential in FPL, though, is it? Johnny says Haaland and Njai to Salah and Thiago/Pedro, 2 free transfers. If right now you're currently forced to play Njai because you don't really like anyone else on your bench, then yes. However, if by doing this, I know I keep repeating myself here because it's the same for a lot of people. If by selling Haaland, all you're doing is creating a benching headache and meaning you're going to be benching a good player, then perhaps it's not worth spending the transfers. But if you think that it's going to really improve your squad for this week as well as next week, then do it. For free? Yeah. When I look at the pair of players, Haaland and Njai versus Salah and probably Joao Pedro, but maybe Thiago, I don't know. In either case, I prefer the Salah and the Thiago/Pedro combo of 2 players. Who do I think is the better combo of players? It's the Salah combo. But I don't know who you would be playing instead of Njai if you were to keep Njai. So I don't know if it's a fair comparison necessarily. Few show teams chats in the chat. Chewy says, where would you put the GOAT Ilman and Njai on the list? Pretty low, can't lie, mate. Is bottom place low enough? No. He would go a little higher than that. I think maybe here? He would be pretty low, though. He'd be pretty low. Pretty low. Verts or Szoboszlai? If you're looking for multiple game weeks, I think I prefer Verts. But for this game week in isolation, I prefer Szoboszlai. First timer. Welcome, first timer. Kelleher or Raya? Raya this week over Kelleher. Sarr on the bench list. You're not feeling Sarr this week? I'd be playing him. I'd be all over him if I had him. Maybe even go higher than Dango. Maybe. I don't know. He would go like here? Maybe? Maybe not, though, because there's been some bad form, hasn't there? You go above Munoz. I'm going to throw him here. What's the reason for starting Wilson over O'Reilly? We did mention O'Reilly before, but I think I factored in the fact that O'Reilly, I think, is rotation risk in Game Week 30. So that's the reason for O'Reilly and why he maybe seems a little lower than maybe some of you guys expected. He is a good pick if he starts, but I'm honestly like 50-50 on whether he even starts this week. Pep said he will change his team from the Real Madrid game. O'Reilly was one of the weakest performers in the Real Madrid game, and Aït-Nouri is coming off the back of a full rest. So I'm afraid I have to drop him on that basis. But like, it's so difficult to place him because if you're like a high risk, high reward manager, then you'll say, oh, I'm just going to play O'Reilly. But if you're someone who actually, wants to try and keep things safe and you've got a strong bench, you're perhaps actually going to say, I think I'll bench O'Reilly this week and take the chance on him not starting. Dan, have you ever heard of a content creator for Fantasy NWSL? No, I haven't actually. I haven't. Everyone mentions City and Liverpool rotation. Is no one worried about Chelsea's rotation? Yeah, I mean, to a degree. I think you should also be worried about Chelsea rotation. But also, when we're looking at Chelsea rotation, they have been able to rotate a little bit more. So, like, Joao Pedro has been rotated a little bit with the lap already, whereas Ekatike has pretty much had to play most games. And then you've got, players like Palmer is definitely some risk. Players like Enzo, Chalobah, they're going to play every game. But, that's the equivalent of saying, are you worried about Virgil or Szoboszlai? Not really. Are you worried about Enzo or Chalobah? Not really. But yeah, Chelsea are maybe not Joao Pedro so much, but Palmer, there's definitely some risk there. Definitely some. Maybe the fact that Neto is now banned might help Palmer a little bit, though. Might help Joao Pedro too, to be fair. Do you have any info on Haaland's minutes? Info is maybe the wrong question. No, we don't have any information. I've not seen any leaks. I've not seen anything weird happening with market odds or anything like that. Which maybe is actually a sign that Haaland is starting, to be fair. Because if Haaland wasn't starting, we might start to see the goal scoring odds for Man City start to drift a little bit. But that's not happening. Well, it certainly has not happened right now. Yeah, I don't know. Is that your phone ringing? I can't hear any phone ringing, no. Maybe it will ring in a few minutes. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. New to the stream, why is Ryan so high up? He hasn't scored since Gameweek 26. Just playing against Burnley, man. When you're an attacker and a good attacker as well, playing against Burnley, you play them. You play the player. No phone emojis. No one's ringing right now. You would hear it if the phone was ringing. Start O'Reilly or Frimpong, please. Oh, Frimpong is just as much of a risk as O'Reilly, isn't he? I'd be tempted to play Frimpong over O'Reilly. But both of those players are risks. And, this is the problem. Charlton Red Visor. You're asking me because you don't want accountability. I get it. Honestly, I genuinely do get it. Because there is so much chance of either of those going wrong. At least if I tell you what to do and it goes wrong, you can't blame yourself anymore. But both of those are absolute disasters waiting to happen. There is no correct answer because they both are so high risk. Who to start out, Frimpong and O'Reilly? Neither. Play a James Hill, play a Gabriel, play a Virgil, play a safe option, man. You're playing with fire. Sami Music says, who would you buy? Gakpo, Gravenberg, or Szoboszlai? Oh, out of those three, Szoboszlai without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. Deb says, my overall rank is 203k. My squad is Raya, Dubravka, Gabriel, Hill, Richards, Anderson, Alderete, Bruno, Enzo, Rice, Wilson, Anderson, Haaland, Ekatike, Thiago. Final suggestions help me pick the 11. You're going to play Raya, Gabriel, Hill, Richards, Bruno, Rice, Wilson, Anderson, Haaland, Ekatike, Thiago. There you go. There you go. Team sorted, ready to go. So basically, bench Dubravka, Anderson, Alderete, and Enzo. Which, to be fair, a lot of that stuff is kind of on the bench list. So at least I'm consistent. Okie dokie. Who to bench out of these three? Timber, Gabriel, Hill, or Virgil? No, you play all three of those. No, sorry, all four of those. Surely. Surely. I mean, if I had to bench one, it would be Hill. But my word, I would not feel comfortable with it. My word. There's a lot of bench points this week, isn't there? Anderson, top of the buy section, but bottom of the bench. Yeah, I mean, because I think Anderson is if you are buying Anderson, you're buying it for multiple game weeks, really. And also, I am becoming more worried about Anderson's minutes this week. I'm more and more worried. Matt says Calvert-Lewin out to Pedro. Only got one transfer and have 4 blanking players in Gameweek 31, so I feel like I need to save transfers. Is one of your 4 blanking players Raya? Because if it is, that's, one less thing to worry about. Calvert-Lewin out to Pedro probably does improve your team. But honestly, honestly, that transfer does improve your team if you have the money. Kai, well, it's either play all 4 and bench Anderson. Okay, yeah, it's tight between Hill and Anderson. But, now you mention it. Nah, I play Anderson over Hill. But it's tight. Marty, by the way, has just sent us a gifted membership. And it's gone to Smee. And I'm glad it's gone to Smee Music, because Smee Music is a pretty regular super chatter, actually. So it's gone to a good home. So, Smee, you've got membership to the FPL Mate YouTube channel now. Make sure you thank our good Irish friend, Marty O'Mahone. Mahon? Mahan? I've forgotten already. Matthias has risked it all. Love it, mate. Love it. Nicole, that's in instead of Sobo. Fingers crossed he starts. Like it. W's in the chat for Marty because he is an Irish legend. And I don't think we're getting. I don't think. Honestly, the markets are not shifting on Man City, which suggests to me that right now they think Haaland's going to start. Please show your team. Oh, yeah. You know what? Show team, gang. O'Mahuin. O'Mahuin. It's as simple as that. Yeah, team. Members, quick, put the show team emojis in. Quick, put the show team gang emojis in. Thank you, Max. You got my back. Okay, guys, this is how I'm going to be lining up for this game week. We are going to be benching Anderson, which I don't feel comfortable with at all. I hate that I'm benching Anderson. I'm hoping that one of my starting 11 gets benched. That's how much I want Anderson to come on. But like looking through my team, who can I bench for Anderson? There's no one I can do. There's no one I can bench. So I'm going to make sure my team is saved. And I'm going to do a quick refresh with 30 seconds until deadline. Guys, lock your team in. It is too late for questions at this point. It's certainly too late for me making transfers. You have 20 seconds till deadline. Go onto the FPL app. Leave this. Come back to the YouTube video in a second. But go into the app. Make sure your team is looking good, guys, because it is about to be locked. Come on. Bench Erling? Yeah, I don't think so somehow, Denzel. I don't think so. Right, guys. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are going to be locked in. Locked in for game week 30. I'm so wanting a comeback week. I'm wanting a high scoring game week. I want some points. I think this is going to be a good one. I say a good one. I don't know if it'll be a good one. I have a feeling this is going to be a high scoring game week. I think there are a lot of points on offer this week. Your Rice and Burma is my Verts and Anderson. Wesley, I like that combo too. My friend. Marty says game on. Game on indeed, Marty. Game on indeed. Yeah, okay, right. Well, we've got 15 minutes before we get team news from a bunch of games. We're going to get Arsenal, Everton, Sunderland, Brighton, Burnley, Bournemouth, all coming up as the 3 o'clock kickoffs today. So 6 teams. Let's stick around. Are you upset there's no April 1st game week this year? Yeah. Yeah, kind of. I am a little bit. I mean, is there anything we can do around that date? Not really. April Fool's bang smack in the middle of the international break. So unfortunately. Oh, Arsenal are 5:30. Of course they are. Sorry. It's 4 teams. I keep forgetting. It's because Chelsea and Newcastle are also on at 5:30. Both games are on at 5:30. I'll tell you what, as a non-Joao Pedro owner and a triple Arsenal owner, I know which of those 2 games I'll be watching. I cannot bear the idea of watching Joao Pedro play again. I'm so traumatized from last game week. So I'm going to watch, hopefully, Declan Rice do something. Because Declan Rice I think my final benching decision really was between Dango, Rice, and Anderson. Maybe you throw in Burma in that conversation. They're all great picks. Like my team, I really like my team this week. I really like my team a lot this week, which is why I've rolled to 3 free transfers. Because it just looks good. Oh, there you go. Right, let's get to the chat, because we can chat about whatever we want now for 15 minutes. Mass says, let's hear people cry more this week. The people, yeah, if Arsenal do well, there will be more tears, I imagine. So, Matty is a G, says my midfield is Bruno Fernandes, Rice, Sart, Anderson, Rogers. Rogers is currently on my bench. Yeah, I think you're probably about right with that one. What do you call an alligator wearing a vest? Says Wesley, and I'm sure we'll be getting the punchline soon. Wesley says the alligator was a message from my daughter. Okay, Wesley's daughter. Young Miss Franz, what do you call an alligator wearing a vest? I'm very keen to know. We need it. Jordan's come in and says, let's talk FPL transferred Rice to Salah last minute and captained him. No Haaland. Does he know something we don't? Okay. We've got a couple of potential answers for the alligator question / joke from Wesley Jr. And the answer is an investigator. Fantastic work. An alligator wearing a vest is an investigator. I like that. I also liked Roy's alternative answer, which was a snappy dresser. I like that too. Not only is the alligator an investigator, but also a snappy dresser. I like that. Good stuff. There's been a few messages from people's children in today's stream. Do people watch FPL Mate streams or videos with their kids? Probably more streams, right? Because it's like Saturday, deadline day, so you've got to be on the ball, but also, you know, Saturday's probably family time, right? Wesley says you made a day, thanks. We made a couple of kids' days this morning, apparently. It's nice stuff. So I'm super curious to know, like, the logistics around this. I'm probably on the telly. So this, I guess it's quite nice for young kids because they probably think I'm a TV man. Not knowing. Actually, I won't spoil the magic. I am a TV man, kids. The TV presenter that your mothers and your fathers like to watch when they're trying to play their silly football game. It's very boring, isn't it? Very boring. I know you've told them to put Bluey on. When does this guy go off the screen? I want to watch Bluey. Or I don't know, Peppa Pig. Is that still a thing? Maybe they're a little bit older. They're waiting to play Fortnite on the TV, but you're hogging it with your FPL news. Ashley says on telly equals famous. That's pretty much the rule with kids, isn't it? Like if you're on or if you are, you could put on a videotape. Purple Sector says, to be fair, you'd make an excellent kids TV presenter, Dan. And you know what? That is actually the job that I wanted when I was a kid. When I was a kid, honestly, I wanted, I wanted to be a TV presenter really all the way up until the age of like, I don't know, like 15, between 15 and 19, maybe. It's when I was a teenager, I wanted to be a TV presenter. And in some ways I am, in other ways I'm definitely not. I could see that, honestly. Well, I mean, to be fair, like when like the props I have here, like I'm halfway, like this, it's not the most mature streams that you will watch for FPL, let's be totally honest. Like giant inflatable mobile phones. There is a, like, I don't bring this out nearly often enough, but there's a, like, oh, we got a super chat here. Jacob says, how are you doing? Is life treating you well? Let me answer that in a clown outfit. Let me answer that with a bit more pizzazz. How am I doing? Is life treating me well? I'm doing well. Thank you genuinely, Jacob, for asking. They always ask how your FPL team is doing. They never ask how the person is doing. But alas, no, it's going well, man. It's going well. There has been positive developments in my personal life with it. I know some of you guys will know about some of the stuff that's been happening between me and my wife. I say between me and my wife. It's not between us. It's to us, if you like. And yeah, like things are looking up right now. We're happy. We're optimistic. Matt says do some accents. Choose an accent. I'll do it. I feel like it's divorcing coming. No, we have never been stronger. So there's nothing wrong with my relationship between me and my wife. But no, things are you know, are looking good. But look, we try and keep things fun and positive on these streams. So no talking about depressing stuff. We're dressed as a clown. It would be incredibly inappropriate to talk about my problems, my personal problems, dressed in a clown outfit on an FPL stream. Incredibly inappropriate. Manchester accent immediately. Can I even do that? Manchester people from Manchester are just northerners who like say instead of e in the end. Dan is going to be a dad. Let's definitely not get ahead of ourselves. Like that is absolutely not on the cards at all right now. So let's just nip that one in the bud immediately. There is absolutely no baby on the way right now. There's nothing. I want to be very, very clear like that because honestly, bit of a sensitive topic, but we're feeling more optimistic that it could happen at some point in the future, but it's not on the way at all. Yeah, but anyway, come on, our kid. Is that? Oh, that is Manchester, isn't it? I can't do a Manchester accent. Yeah, you say sorted and quality. Yeah, they say instead of e. So don't be silly. Quality. Is there a football player whose name ends in Y or an E sound? You got Martinelli in your team. You're bringing in Martinelli. Can I unicycle? No. Dan, say it sorted. Sort it. I just think it's sorted. Dan, do you have a fantasy draft team this year? Yes. But with my friends, and it's not on FPL. It's on a different app. Me fantasy team's doing bobbins. Yeah, good. Thank you very much, Christopher. I appreciate it, man. Do you think the manager chip will come back? No, definitely not. That was a disaster of a chip. I don't know what they were thinking. I have no clue. Can I unicycle? Did I answer that question already? No, I definitely cannot. Minter. Yeah. How do people from Manchester say the name Minter? And wow, if you're from Manchester, what would a mint flavored minter be pronounced as? Minter? The wig's coming off. Super chat from Jacob says, odds on naming your firstborn Jacob or Jacobina. I'm going to give you a 0% chance. I'm going to give you an absolute no way that is happening. But thanks. Can't juggle. Ogang says Norwegian fantasy starts today. No Bodo Glimp before game week 3. Oh, why? That's weird. Is that how it works? Dan, how's your Spurs application going? Have you sent in your CV? I haven't, no. But like, look, if they need a manager, I will be the one to take them down to the Champions League, to the Championship. I will do it. I will take the hit. I will take the damage to my reputation as a football manager to relegate Spurs. I'll do it. Someone's got to. Sorry, I'm standing up because I've been sat down for 2.5 hours and I need to stretch my legs. So I'm sorry I'm stood up right now. I'm sorry you can't see my face, but honestly, you get to my age and you need to keep moving or things start to seize up. My ripe old age. You get to your 30s and you're in trouble. You need to keep moving. Spurs are doomed for real. Yeah, pretty much. Ask AI who will win the FA Cup. Not gonna do that. Can I do a Scouse accent? Maybe, to be fair, but I have a lot of respect for the people of Liverpool compared to the people of Manchester. I don't know why. I love Liverpool as a city. I think that's the reason. I thought I've been to Manchester too, but like didn't really think that much to it. It was okay. No offense. Has Mrs. FPL Mate got an FPL team this season? No, she's taken the last couple of years off, actually. What games are you playing on your phone? None, but I am playing Pokemon Legends ZA a lot. And I will be playing it again when I finish this stream. And whilst I wait for the games to kick off, I'm booting that up immediately. Oh, wow, what's wrong with Manx? Nothing, I just have no affiliation or affinity to Manchester, unfortunately. Maybe I should. Maybe I need to go back and give it another try, give it a proper go. But yeah, not really spent much time in Manchester, and the time I did spend there, it was okay. But you know, I went to Liverpool and I thought it was pretty awesome. Dave says, as an Arsenal fan, wouldn't you miss Spurs if they were relegated? You'd have no more North London derby. Can I be totally honest? As an Arsenal fan, and I do not speak for all Arsenal fans, and Spurs fans are probably not going to like to hear this, but I don't care about Spurs. Spurs during my lifetime have never been a threat to Arsenal as a football team. I mean, for a couple of years there, they were competing with us for Champions League places. But in the scale of my time supporting Arsenal, it was a blip, a small blip, where Spurs were even really anything. They were just when I was a young fan, you know, Spurs were like 10th and below. They were never even part of a competition. So it's like, yeah, it must be a lovely derby for Spurs fans to have a rival. And maybe if we beat Arsenal, that can be our cup. But honestly, right now, Arsenal are in a different league to Spurs already. Arsenal our wins. If we beat Spurs this season, we are not thinking about that. We're thinking about whether we're going to win the Premier League. We're thinking about whether we're going to win the Champions League, the League Cup, the FA Cup. A win against Spurs or a game against Spurs is really quite insignificant to Arsenal right now. So, as an Arsenal fan, I said it as a Spurs fan. As an Arsenal fan, I don't really care. It's not that the North London derby is not that interesting to me. It's fun, it's funny, it's a meme. But like, if we're being serious, there you go. But they're not rivals because they have good games. They're geographic rivals. Yeah, I totally understand that. But like, it's not really a competition right now. So like, where's the fun? Where's the fun? And honestly, to be honest, I don't live in North London. I've never lived in North London. Arsenal is probably the closest Premier League team to me geographically, but because I live north of London, but like, you know, there's not a big culture of Arsenal versus Spurs fans rivalry in the area that I live. So, do I care more about Chelsea? No, honestly, I care more about City right now because I don't know. I'm not. To be honest, I've never really been big on football rivalries. Anyway, I don't really care that much. I think it's funny when Spurs lose, but I don't genuinely wish them ill will or anything. Or I would say the same about any team, but I want Arsenal to do well. And if that means that Man City are losing or Liverpool are losing, then fantastic, fantastic. But I don't know. I'm not as big. I'm probably just not as big into football rivalries as maybe the average person. Where am I vacating this year? Great question. I don't know. I don't know yet. Even if I do, I'd love to go to Iceland. I'd love to go to. Where else would I like? I'd love to go to the. Well, previously, I'd like to go to the US, but I'm beginning to have my doubts about that one. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I'd like to go to Iceland. I'd like to go to Sweden as well. That's about it. Oh, team news. Let's find it. It's funny when Spurs lose, you are pretty much everyone else following the Premier League. Yeah, I don't think it is a strictly Arsenal experience to find it funny when Spurs lose. But anyway, let's check out some of these lineups. We've got Sunderland to kick us off, where we see no Ruffs again as expected, no Mukiele as expected. We've got Alderete, Ballard. So these players people have. Jack is playing. No Lefay in the entire squad. Is that right? I can't see him on the bench. Okay, so no Lefay at all. So maybe an issue there. Okay, not sure what's going on there, but no Lefay. I wonder if anyone knows anything in the. Does anyone know the answer to this? Yeah, this don't look great. Don't look great. Okay, anyway, Brighton. Danny Welbeck is playing. If anyone has him, Van Hecker too. Gomez. I don't think many people are very invested in Brighton, are they? Verbruggen. People have Verbruggen. So there you have it. Minter is playing. Burnley, we've got Dubravka as expected. Estev. No, doesn't look like anything shocking from Burnley either, which brings us to Brighton. I'll do the whole squad for Brighton because I think, for Bournemouth, because I think there's a few people with Bournemouth players. Petrovic, Troffer, Senesi, Scott, Evan Nielsen, Christie, Smith, Tavernier, Creeper Jr., Hill, and Ryan, which means who's been benched? A few players. Adley. Just Adley, right? Oh, and unlike Brooks and I feel like someone missing. Tavernier's starting, Creeper Jr.'s starting, Ryan's starting, Evan Nilsson's starting. I feel like they're missing an attacker other than Adley. Who is missing here? Or am I making this up? Don't know. I'm from the US and New York specifically. That's where I'd like to go, Dave. And I can tell you, you'll be fine and still have a lovely time. Good. I just think it's maybe not the right moment. I will go at some point. I just think maybe not the exact right moment. Is it Christie missing? Yeah, it could be Christie missing. Clivert's been missing for ages. No, I'm not thinking of Clivert. He's not played in months. Well, has he? Did he come back? Is there a change from last week? Can I show the team on screen? Oh, was I not showing a team on screen this whole time? I am so sorry. I honestly, I thought the team was on screen. I don't know who we're missing. Was it Christie? That's the change. So let's just go look at the results. Is it Jimenez? I mean, Jimenez is not... Who's playing right back? Smith. So the last game was against Brentford. And so the changes are Jimenez is out, Smith is in. Scott is still in. Adams is out. And oh, it was Christie. I was going to say, I swear like there was one more attacker change. It was Christie that I was thinking of. Adams has dropped out this week, hasn't he, for Christie, and Christie was playing more advanced last game week. So that's what I was thinking. I was thinking there was one more attacker last week, and I didn't know who it was. It was because Christie was playing in a more attacking position last week, and this week he's dropped back, and Adams has dropped out, and that is what has facilitated Croupy coming into the team. I get it now. It's all adding up. So they got basically going a little more attacking, I guess, in a way. Although saying that, Smith is a more defensive pick than Jimenez, really. But anyway, there you go. Those are your lineups for the game week. Wow, fantastic stuff. Right, guys, I think we shall wrap things up. I think for today, because we have been streaming a little while. How long have I been streaming for? What does the time say on the stream, guys? I haven't got it open right now. Is it 2 hours and 30? Something like that. It's been a while. And I want to get some food and I want to watch some football. I also kind of want to play Pokemon. Thanks, guys. I really do appreciate you today. 2 hours 40. I really do appreciate you guys today. There's been a lot of good conversation today, and it's really helped to keep things flowing and moving. And yeah, I've not felt bored at any point. So, which is good. This has been fun, and you guys have been really generous with super chats and new members and stuff like that, and I really genuinely do appreciate it. So, thank you so much for joining me today. I had a good time, and now I'm hoping for a good green arrow. Wishing the best of luck to all of you guys as well. I'll catch you over on X for more chat. Yeah, you kept me entertained. I was meant to keep you guys entertained. It was mutual. It was mutual this week, which is nice. We like that. Cheers, guys. Take care. Good luck this game week. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow for another video. See you later, mates. Bye-bye.